I'm back here at the Wild Turkey Distillery, and I want to let you in on a little something. The folks here and I have created a new small batch bourbon. It's called Wild Turkey Long Branch. It's refined with Texas mesquite charcoal for a smoky sweetness. It is my favorite bourbon on the planet.
Welcome to Radiovania, episode number 63, your New Year's Eve special. This is the end of the year 2018 special. We're moving into 2019, and John and I felt it only right to talk about the year in review, sipping a little bit of that long branch. John, what do we got? What do you have for us right here?
It's called Wild Turkey Long Branch. It is a partnership between one of our favorite Hollywood presences, Matthew McConaughey, and the folks at Wild Turkey Long Branch. Anyway, so we have got this, and we're going to try this out right now.
Ooh, that was a good pop. That'll register for sure. Pour that up. So yeah, John's pouring some Wild Turkey Long Branch. How did this start? You saw the video, you just knew it had to be. I
think I saw it as a Hulu commercial.
Okay. Because
most of the Wild Turkey commercials are on Hulu before we went ad-free.
Yeah.
And I was like, ooh, I gotta try that.
And John and I aren't bourbon connoisseurs. We enjoy a good glass of bourbon.
Yes. But we mostly buy
cheap stuff.
The ball on a budget that still tastes pretty good.
Yeah, like we're huge fans of Heaven Hill. We got a bottle of 6-year in the pantry right now. That stuff's good. It only costs $24.99. But right here, this is about the most, I think...
Bougie.
Yeah, this is a bougie drink for Radiovania. So we're ending 2018 on a high note by drinking till we get to a low note.
Cheers.
Cheers. All right. Yeah, spin it around. The Scotch people and the whiskey people always told me to spin it around, make sure to look at the tears on the sides, see what it does. Get the aroma.
What's it smell like?
I smell...
Murph.
Yes.
It's actually really good. It's very smooth.
It is very smooth.
Because it's refined with that Texas mesquite charcoal.
It is my favorite bourbon off the planet.
You sound like Jeff Sessions.
I'm sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Trump. I didn't mean to try your bourbon.
Well, I
sit on you.
All right, it's already gone off the rails.
Yep, already.
So yeah, basically, hopefully this isn't breaking the... I see a lot of spikes. So hopefully we're not just being loud and horrifyingly obnoxious. But yeah, so we're going to be talking about the year of 2018. John, how was 2018?
2018 was busy, but it was a lot of fun. I was just working up at the park full time pretty much.
Yeah.
2018 up until the beginning of the summer, wrapped up my first, school year there, worked through the summer, and then started my second year, which is going to take me through next November. So been up there. I got to travel a little bit in the middle of the summer, but mostly I've just been working the old grindstone up there. But there's some good standouts from 2018.
Yeah. Busy for me. Went through a move and a half. So that's fun.
Yeah. You guys had a busy logistical year.
Definitely. Busy logistically wise.
I mean, my family left Ohio. I guess that's kind of a big deal.
Yeah. That is a big deal.
Last Parker standing.
This is your home now.
This is it. Yeah.
Welcome.
Well, thank you. Good to be here.
So before we dive too deep into this, I want to remind everybody you're listening to Radiovania. I don't know why I decided to remind. So nerd, pop culture, movies, television, whatever we want to talk about. You can find us at Radiovania on Twitter, radiovania@gmail.com if you have any questions, comments, or concerns. And then if you want to go to radiovania.com, you can listen to all of our nonsensical ramblings, including last week's episode where we went hard on Spider-Man, Into the Spider-Verse, and Aquaman.
Yes. Happy holidays.
Yeah. So, John, you got some quotes for me. Do we have some inspirational quotes to start the show off?
We do. So, this bottle of Wild Turkey Long Branch came with this tiny little booklet. Would you like me to read it straight up or as Matthew McConaughey?
I think the only answer is as Matthew McConaughey.
Okay. So, this will be a little bit in the third person then because they talk about him. But... honoring their shared Kentucky roots and the friends that form on the longest branches of our family tree. Matthew McConaughey and master distiller Eddie Russell present a rare 8-year-old Kentucky straight bourbon. So it's 8 years old. It's pretty good.
It's an 8-year?
Yeah, it's in, what's that, 2nd grade? Going into 3rd grade. Right?
Really?
Think about that for a little bit.
That puts it in perspective.
3rd grade, you're like 9, right?
Like 8 years ago?
8 years old.
Oh. Okay.
Not for us, no. 8 years
Oh,
old. 8 years ago, we were in high school. Yeah. I'm talking about if this was a child.
You got my brain all broken there. I was like...
This is the voice of Carly, by the way, chiming in to correct me, as usual.
I'm a huge bitch.
No, you're not. It's just a joke. Anyway, made in small batches and refined with oak and Texas mesquite charcoal. How many times can you say Texas mesquite charcoal? How fast can you say that? 5 times. Go.
Texas mesquite charcoal, Texas mesquite charcoal, Texas mesquite charcoal, Texas mesquite charcoal, Texas mesquite charcoal. Somebody ring the dingster.
This unique process results in an extraordinarily balanced and smooth sipping whiskey with subtle hints of smoky sweetness. Quote from Matthew McConaughey: "Because I wouldn't be here if it weren't for Kentucky." Quote from Eddie Russell: "Me neither." Next page.
Is that really what it says? No, are you fucking kidding me?
Isn't that awesome?
Me neither. That's amazing.
That's like some Ron Swanson bullshit right there.
Yeah, that's great.
This part I thought was pretty interesting. Nestled on the deep limestone shelf on the mighty Kentucky River, the Wild Turkey Distillery is famous for producing bourbon of exceptional quality, richness, and unwavering character. At the helm of this iconic distillery is legendary father and son master distilling team of Jimmy and Eddie Russell, who have nearly 100 years of collective experience working the Wild Turkey Distillery. Drink responsibly.
Beautiful. Well done.
Thanks.
This is a good bourbon.
I like it.
It's
Did you try it?
It's smooth. It's got a nice flavor. It's not harsh. It's just the right amount of spice. It would cut really well with the Coca-Cola.
I wouldn't cut it, I don't
That was
think.
a joke.
Okay, good.
That was a joke.
Thank God.
I'm not a bourbon drinker, but it's probably my favorite that I've had.
There we go, Matthew. Shout out to Matthew McConaughey.
You hear that, everybody? We're more Matthew McConaughey shills. Pay us money, Matthew McConaughey. Get us in your next film.
Yeah, no, I like it quite a bit. I mean, it's definitely the most expensive bottle of bourbon that I've purchased, which is really sad. But it's good. I like it a lot.
All right. Well, now that our bourbon talk is out of the way of the podcast, if you haven't dozed off already, John, what do you say we jump into a couple news articles before we get into our lists of 2018?
I like that. Let's do it. I just thought of a great idea.
Okay.
That I want to drop on you at the end.
Drop at the end.
Or now.
Whatever you want to do.
What if we do a bourbon review podcast?
Oh.
And we call it Zach's Barrel House. Twinkle, twinkle, big star.
Zach's Barrel House?
Yeah.
I think you should be the host of the bourbon show. If I'm the host of this show...
I don't like being the host. I like to be the recurring guest. I'm like, what's his name? Kramer. Just kind of show up.
Okay.
I feel like that should just be like a supplement to this podcast. Like, because you're usually drinking for this podcast anyway, so you just...
But it'll give us...
Like in the beginning.
It'll help us explore new lands.
New foreign lands.
What do you think?
The problem is that we have to have a budget for that.
Well, what if we do it once a month?
Once a month, bourbon podcast?
Well, I guess we only do a show once a month. Every other show, we do a new bourbon.
Okay.
You like that? Spit shake?
One of the true crime podcasts I listen to, they review a beer every show, so it could be like that. They're unrelated, but it works.
We should also do a true crime podcast. That would be awesome.
But it's just true it's true crimes from Batman the Animated Series. That's a true crime.
That's not true.
That's a genius idea.
That's a great idea.
That's actually a really good idea.
So Jimmy the Jazz Man was trying to ice Gordon.
But you like totally play it off completely straight.
That'd be cool.
That'd be
and we
good.
can have like saxophones in the background.
Be a part of this.
We should do that. All right. So we got some ideas for 2019. Let's finish up 2018.
My favorite Gotham murder.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
From slashfilm.com. Solos, hey, cue slide whistle. You ready? Solo score disqualified from the Oscars because someone forgot to submit it.
Yeah, I saw this.
Somebody goofed. First round voting is kicked off for the Academy's Best Original Song and Best Original Score. 4 buzzworthy scores have already been disqualified. The causes behind the disqualifications vary, but the solo A Star Wars Story score might have the most embarrassing reason. Someone forgot to submit it in time. Other scores that didn't make the cut include Mandy, Green Book, and The Other Side of the Wind.
Oh, Green Book didn't get their cut?
Not for score.
Damn it.
It's like, how does that happen? It's Disney.
I
think they forget to let a score go
I
through?
think they're trying to bury it.
Just to make people forget about Solo? Do you think so?
Yeah, unfortunately. It's kind of a shame to all the people that worked on it. And I actually liked the score quite a bit. I liked it better than the Rogue One score.
Rogue One score was one of the weakest parts of the movie.
Yeah, for sure. But the solo one holds up. Also, it has an original John Williams theme that's new, which is nice. And then John Powell, I think, did a pretty good job with coming up with new stuff and then reminiscing old stuff. But this is yet another thing in the tripping at the finish line that is Solo Star Wars Story. So let's just move on to the next thing.
Well, we're going to move on to some Star Wars.
Oh, God damn it.
Can't
take it anymore.
We got to get the rough out of 2018 before we talked about the stuff we really liked.
Okay.
Star Wars Episode 9 takes place 1 year after The Last Jedi. According to an upcoming issue of Empire magazine, John Boyega has confirmed that the events of the yet-to-be-named Episode 9 will take place approximately 1 year from the conclusion of The Last Jedi. Time jumps are very common in the Star Wars universe, so this isn't a huge...
That's pretty on par with, like, the original time jumps. I mean, it's not like... What was it? The time jump from, like, Phantom Menace to Attack of the Clones is, like, 10 years, right?
Yeah, it's huge.
Whereas, like, the originals, it was, like, it's been, like, a year since the Death Star blew up. Or, like, with Return of the Jedi, it's, like, Han Solo's been in Carbonite for, like, a year to a year and a half.
Yeah.
So, it seems pretty reasonable.
Yeah.
You also don't want to jump too far because, like... Then you would be like, well, these young actors still look like they did in the last one because they are only filming it like 2 years later.
Yeah, there can be I think there could be a suspension of disbelief in that instance. I think they should have jumped farther. I would have liked to have seen like some passing of time. I don't know, a year seems. I mean, even though a year is a long time.
In a year. Yeah,
that's true.
We're talking about that right now.
This is true.
I had a year-long quest to try some Long Branch, and it's taken me until the end of the year to happen.
Well, here we are at the end of the year. We have some Long Branch.
Yes, we do.
I don't know. I think this is cool. I'm glad that there's like
some time.
I
2 hours
really
later.
hated. I didn't hate it, but
what?
It just didn't feel Star Warsy to take place right. It felt like The Hobbit. Like that was the problem I had with The Hobbit was that they should have. They could have cut it.
Well, you know whose fault it was?
Rian Johnson?
JJ. That's what happens when you do a cliffhanger. Like, you don't do a cliffhanger like that. Because, like, that was a very momentary cliffhanger.
I don't know. I think you could have picked that up.
I don't think so. I mean...
Just have her be trained. The problem is that you just...
That's too much, I think.
I don't think it's too much.
You get an Anakin moment if you do that. It's like, I'm going to train you. And then it's like 10 years later, he's an asshole, but he's trained. You know what I mean?
I guess so.
Yeah.
I guess you don't really know, though.
We never know. We will never know.
You'll never know.
Yep.
All we can hope is that 9 is good, and we'll talk about that later.
Lando.
Deadline writes, Wonder Woman 1984, Gal Gadot post heartfelt message as production wraps.
Oh, they're done?
So they're done.
Damn. When does that come out? Is it like next December? Next November? 2020?
June 5th, 2020.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So we have a ways away.
A year and a half for that.
I wouldn't be surprised if that gets pushed up.
Well, it got pushed back. It was supposed to be like fall of 2019, but I think they're just pushing everything back.
Yeah.
Cool.
Super excited to see
post?
Kristen Wiig. She wrote, honestly, words cannot describe this experience.
Read it like Gal Gadot.
No, I'm not going to do that.
Try it.
I can't
just
even
try it.
No,
just
I
try
can't.
it.
I don't even
just
know what she sounds like.
Just try it.
I'm just going to do my best Vera Farmiga impersonation.
What?
Oh, wait, who's the mom from Modern Family?
Sofia Vergara.
Sofia Vergara.
Vera Farmiga's from The Conjuring.
Whoops.
Wow. Okay.
You get the picture. All right, moving on.
That's pretty funny. That's like a swan song mess up right there.
That's a swan song. Yeah,
I'm just kidding. It's not that bad.
From Box Office Mojo, Aquaman is king at the box office.
Wait, you're not going to read the quote?
No, I've closed out the tab.
God damn it.
It's fine. She's like,
probably like,
I'm so happy to be part of this journey.
That was pretty good.
It's a journey that's been very good.
I think that shit was Borat.
That's why I don't want to do it.
This journey been very nice. Wonder Woman 84, very nice.
Yeah, so Box Office Mojo. Aquaman's king of the box offices for a second weekend in a row. Aquaman is once again king of the box office that now tops 188 million and a worldwide tally of almost $750 million.
What?
Yeah.
In like 2.5 weeks?
Yeah.
Damn.
It has outperformed the expectations, so it's good for WB.
Definitely.
And for
It's
DC.
good because I think Grindelwald performed vastly under expectations.
Yeah.
That was in kind of the same season.
Yeah.
Is that the most they've done overseas, or did BVS do the most? I can't remember.
I think BVS did like made so
like
much money
gangbangers
overseas. Yeah.
Overseas, yeah.
Wonder
Woman didn't make as much overseas
hold on.
as she did domestically, though.
Internationally, Aquaman. This is about to read it, so I should.
Great.
Get going. Aquaman brought in an estimated $85.4 million this weekend from 78 markets for an overseas cumulative totaling $560 million and a global tally of 748.8 million. This makes the film the third largest worldwide release in the DCEU, topping Suicide Squad.
Thank God.
Which means that it's BVS, Aquaman, Suicide Squad. For international.
Oh, for international.
Yeah.
Okay.
And box office.
Because Wonder Woman made a bunch here.
Yeah, but it didn't
US.
top BVS.
No.
I'm sure Aquaman's going to do better than Wonder Woman.
I think it already did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, Mary Poppins Returns is performing on par with the forecast, delivering an estimated 28
Have you seen it
million.
yet?
Still haven't seen it.
Damn, me neither. I want to see it.
Bumblebee dipped negative 5% in its second weekend, delivering an estimated 20 million. So it's the highest rated Transformers movie, and it's going to be the lowest profitable one.
Isn't that sad?
That is super sad,
really
and I'm
sad.
actually curious.
I feel bad
to see
for
it.
that filmmaker.
I'm curious to see it.
Yeah,
because apparently it's supposed to be really good.
Yeah, Drew actually has a friend that worked on that film.
Really?
Yeah, he was showing me like B-roll that they did on it.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, they like blew up a semi in the middle of the desert or something
Nice.
like that. And I was like, this is pretty sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In fourth place, the aforementioned Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse followed what was a larger than expected drop last weekend with a 11.2% improvement this weekend, delivering an estimated 18.3 million to start its third week in release with a domestic cumulative that now tops 103 million. The film also added another 27.4 million internationally. So, but it still has yet to open in Brazil. So there's still hope for Into the Spider-Verse. So
Do Brazilians like Spider-Man?
I don't know. We'll see. I'm curious though. That's the one I'm
How do
rooting
you say
for.
I like
That's the
Spider-Man
little
in
movie that
Portuguese?
could. What?
Nothing. Long Branch.
All right, last story. Netflix turned down offer to buy Holmes and Watson from Sony after bad test screenings. Netflix wouldn't even buy that POS.
Would you like some heroin?
Here's a sentence that we haven't really written this year. Netflix actually turned down the chance to buy a major film. One of the more odd film strategies for Netflix... I'm not going to read all this, but you get the gist.
Yeah.
Netflix turned down the Holmes and Watson, which is... It's still at a 0% on Rotten Tomatoes, I think, right?
It's 9.
9%?
Yep.
I'm going to have to rent it. 9%, you're right.
You're going to rent it?
Yeah, when it comes out, I want to see how bad this is.
It'll probably be on like Prime Video or something.
I want to see how bad it is. Like, if it's bad, and from what I'm hearing, it's so bad that it's miserable. What I'm hoping
Like
is
that
that
you want to leave in the middle of it?
What I'm hoping is that it's so bad that it's actually somewhat entertaining.
What was the last movie you wanted to leave in the middle of? And be honest.
American Hustle.
Really?
Yeah, I hated that shit.
Wow.
The movie sucked.
It is an underperforming movie.
It was so boring, and I didn't care about any. I hated everyone. Everyone was a terrible person. There was no person I liked in the movie. I was just watching all these people be shitty to each other. And then Robert De Niro shows up, and I was like, hey.
That was the best part.
That was the best part of the movie. Yeah. All right, that's it for the news.
The last movie I wanted to leave in the middle of was Green Lantern.
I was so hyped for Green Lantern. I went into Green Lantern.
Too.
I had a Green Lantern mask and a ring. I was so hyped.
You have a picture of this?
I do have a picture somewhere.
Wow. It's pretty funny. My fingers.
Paul and I were pretty jazzed about that movie. We thought that trailer was like the coolest thing ever. light of darkness, darkest night, or whatever he
That's
says.
not right.
Give me the power to fight this light.
No.
It's a Green Lantern.
The Radiovania broke-ass Green Lantern motto. Yeah.
Well, the line that I love is, what is he doing when he's sitting there on the couch and he's holding the thing up to the thing? He's like, I solemnly swear.
I'm up to no good.
I solemnly swear to protect the world because I got this ring from a glowing purple alien, or whatever Ryan Reynolds says. And
Yeah.
what a great movie.
No, it's not. The motto is, in brightest day, in blackest night, no evil shall escape my sight. Let those who worship evil's might beware my power, Green Lantern's light. But you'd get that eventually, I'm sure.
Yeah. That part was cool when he says that in the movie, though.
Mm-hmm. That could have been the only thing they did for a trailer, and it would have gotten people excited.
Yeah.
But anyway, we'll probably never see Green Lantern again.
No, they'll do a solo movie eventually.
But not. Do you think it'll be Hal Jordan again?
No, it'll be...
Let's see if you can get it. You got this. Starts with a J.
Jon Stewart.
Hey, nice job, man. Cheers.
Cheers. I knew that was what it was because Jon
Long
Stewart
bench.
is also the Daily Show host.
Yes, he is. And he's playing him. He's not.
So how do you want to do this New Year's episode? What
medium should we start with?
I think we end with movies.
I think so, too.
I think we end with movies.
Why don't we start with music, because I didn't write down a list.
All right. Well, so then you can just bounce off me then.
Actually, wait. How about I start with the medium that you probably didn't make a list for,
Okay.
and then you could do music.
Yeah,
So
okay.
I made one for comics.
Yeah, hit me with that.
So I'm doing series, whether mini-series or an existing series that is continuing to go on. I had 5 that really stood out to me. So number 5 would be Superman this year. Brian Michael Bendis took over Superman around March or April. And he's been doing some really cool stuff, both with multiple Superman titles, so I wanted to give a shout out to that. My number 4 favorite series would be the Amazing Spider-Man series, which had a nice revamp with some artists from the Invincible book, which is one of the best superhero comics ever. It's just been a lot of fun. They've been incorporating characters like J. Jonah Jameson and Mary Jane and stuff like that. It's been awesome. Number 3 would be Daredevil this year. Daredevil, which will come up again when we talk about television, was awesome. Number 2 is Gideon Falls, which is an Image book. It's kind of like a horror series.
I've heard of this.
Yeah, they just
Apparently it's been optioned for a movie.
Yes.
Yeah.
I got optioned for a movie, which I think it'll make a really good like Blumhouse movie. But it's like this small town in like Midwest Kansas maybe, and there is a pastor who is a former alcoholic that moves to the town. And then there's just like weird occurrences going on, and I won't dive into too much, but if you like horror and you kind of like just like intrigue and mystery and thriller type stuff, you would really like it.
I'm gonna read this.
So you should definitely check it out. The first trade is out for like the first story arc.
Cool.
And it's really good.
Cool. Yeah, I've seen.
The art is beautiful.
Yes, I've seen the art. I've seen people pass this around.
Andrea
Reddit.
Sorrentino, I think, and then the writer is my favorite writer right now, which is Jeff Lemire. He's great.
It's kind of got a Brian Lee O'Malley vibe, like Scott Pilgrim. It's got a little bit of that, like it's kind of like realism, cartoonishness.
Yeah,
and so I'm totally into it.
It does some
That sounds
really
awesome.
cool shit where it's like sometimes you'll have to turn the book on the side to read the panels because they like the person's like tripping out on something or like experiencing some type of hallucination, and it just kind of fucks with you a little bit. And then my number 1 series this year, which I can back this up. This isn't just personal bias, but Batman this year was really good. I think you and I talked on the phone like months ago, and I said that some of the story arcs that they were doing were actually like some of the best that I've read in a while. Which is good because like back when we used to review comics weekly, when we were able to do that in Columbus, I was really disappointed with how it started in Rebirth. And they've really turned it around with incorporating villains and people that Bruce Wayne hasn't really interacted with. This whole year we had the stuff with the wedding that didn't happen, and then the fallout after that has been the best stuff.
This is the Batman Catwoman wedding, right?
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yep. So she left him at the altar, and then he kind of went crazy, depressed. And he's kind of taken over Gotham himself, because as his ward and other people have gotten older. Like Nightwing does a different town, Batgirl lives in a different town, so he's kind of by himself, and then Robin's off with the Teen Titans, and so it's just him and Alfred. And so they have to like start bringing back Dick Grayson because they're like, we can't stop him. Like he almost kills Mr. Freeze, like he beats the shit out of him and almost like punches his head off and stuff. And then it's tying into a storyline that they're going to do this year that I'm very stoked for, which is the rematch between him and Bane, because apparently Bane's been orchestrating all this. And they're tying in Flashpoint on top of that, which is sick. So check out your local comic shop or Amazon if you want to kill the industry to read some of these things.
There's a comic store down the street from the bar that we might be going to tomorrow, the Overlook.
Cool.
Might have to stop in there.
Yeah.
Show you around.
That'd be sweet.
I've never actually been in, but... So good year for comics, all in all, you feel?
Yeah, it was a lot better than 2017. 2017, it just seemed like they were, both companies besides Image, like Marvel and DC, were kind of struggling to find footing. And then this year, each one kind of found their own stride. Marvel focusing on character, like in-depth character studies, as well as writing the hype of Infinity War and incorporating Thanos into a couple things. And the Guardians of the Galaxy, which they've done a good job of that. And then DC, kind of playing into their strengths of the writing cast that they have now with incorporating Bendis and getting Superman back in there. And the creative team that took over Wonder Woman is doing a lot better of a job. They're incorporating Greek mythology again, which if you don't incorporate that with Wonder Woman, you're kind of wasting your time. So, yeah, it was a really good year.
Good.
Spent too much money on it, but it was a really good year.
Well, you got JC.
Shout out to JC, my boy. He's got my pull list for the next couple weeks, so when I go at the end of January, it's going to probably be like 50 books. So. Happy holidays.
And that's like $4 a book, right?
DC is like $2.99, and then Marvel can be anywhere from $3.99 to $4.99. So, but yeah. Anywhere from $3 to $5 a piece.
Ho doggy.
Mm-hmm. This guy's got me worried.
It's okay. Just send me a Snapchat of the bill, and we'll expense it on the Radiovania account.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
Take 15 cents off the top.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. I'm just going to lock myself in my room and read them all, and I'm going to come out, and my eyes aren't going to work. They're not going to adjust to the light and stuff. Yeah. It'd be fun.
It will be fun.
Yeah. So yeah, that's comics.
Okay.
Music.
I'm sure you'll be able to piggyback off some of this.
For sure. I just didn't write anything down.
I won't spend long.
I wanted you to take the lead.
This is America and Feels Like Summer.
When's that album dropping?
I don't think there is going to be an album.
I don't think so either.
I think he just put out some singles that he really liked, and then he toured.
He's really busy.
Not touring anymore.
He's really busy.
Yeah.
I mean, he basically does most of the production behind that Atlanta show, right? Both in terms of writing and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. So.
This is America.
I don't know.
Really
yeah.
Music video might be what makes that
best,
song a little bit better.
Yeah. Consistently, I was reading like best of the year lists from music outlets like Rolling Stone, Enemy, Spin, Variety, all these places giving music reviews, and that song consistently is at least either in the top 5 or number 1. It's not hard to see why. It's a very pertinent song and a very a damn well produced one. So
yeah,
that makes my list. Recently, I've been checking out the Spider-Verse soundtrack.
Very good.
Very good.
It's
very
good.
Eclectic.
Yeah, this is a good year for Marvel to create these really dope soundtracks.
Yeah.
Which is actually saying a lot, considering that we usually like the Guardian stuff, but this is like new music.
This is like the opposite of the Guardian soundtrack.
As far as you can get.
Yeah. It's not a collection of tracks. It's very much cohesive. Like the album feels like it feels like a mixtape, which is an effect that movies try to create. Like Suicide Squad tried to make that soundtrack feel like a mixtape. It doesn't. It feels like a try-hard piece of shit.
There's a lot about that movie that is...
Yeah, but it's like
shitty.
Pop song after pop song that just doesn't have any connection. But the whole Spider-Verse soundtrack feels like fluid. Mm-hmm. It works totally.
Mm-hmm. I think what they must have had going into is like what would Miles Morales listen to?
Yeah.
And it's like, write something like that, which I think was really cool.
Yeah.
What else for music?
If you like 80s synthwave, like pop,
Talk to me
trip
about
hop,
this synthwave.
it's like stuff that you would think of like the soundtrack for Stranger Things, but with vocals. The Midnight, a little indie band favorite of mine, have released a new record this year called Kids. It's like a 9-track, 10-track album. It's synth heavy, it's very 80s aesthetic, vaporwave aesthetic. Lots of drowned out synthesizers and saxophone and lyrics about reaching high and following your dreams, and
Sounds wonderful.
It's really good. It's very, very well produced and very catchy and nostalgic. There's a song in it called like The Arcade or something like that, and just it sounds like what you'd imagine being an arcade in the 80s sounds like.
Yeah.
So it's very cool.
Nice.
If you like lavish sort of pop, like indie pop kind of thing, one of my favorite groups, Laney, Lany, released a new record this year called Malibu Nights. Really good album. It's shorter too. It's around like the 40-minute mark. Really good stuff. Really catchy. A lot of R&B influences. They made it famous for one of their songs called ILSB, right? ILYSB. I love you so bad.
Oh yeah, you're right.
But the new album is very mature and well done, and I like it. I think it's my favorite collection of their work to date. If you like
Pina colada.
Yes, if you do like pina colada. If you like pina coladas.
Oh, I thought of another television. Sorry.
And if you also like if you like Bruno Mars style on 24 Karat Magic with maybe a little less shit songwriting, check out Head Over Heels.
Hey.
No, I'm not saying Bruno Mars has shit songwriting, but there's like 4 songs in that album that just blow.
Yeah, they do.
But if you like a whole album that's really good, that's like 24 Karat Magic, check out Head Over Heels by Chromeo. Chromeo is an awesome funk pop band, does a lot of 80s, 70s inspired funk. Their new album is really, really good, really, really awesome from top to bottom. Great instrumentalization. And if you like tight jazz...
What do you mean, jazz?
There you go. If you like jazz with a little bit of that soul and R&B, check out Wolfpack's Hill Climber. The band is Wolfpack. They're like a tiny, tiny little indie band. They have a small following, but they're getting bigger. But their new album called Hill Climber has everything from like a Marvin Gaye song to something from like the math jazz from like the 2000s. So it's very good.
I will check that one out.
Yeah, you would like Wolfpack.
You gotta write that shit down for me.
They sing that song that you like.
What do you mean you don't like jazz?
What do you mean? This album came out. This album came out like structured this year. I promise I won't spend too much time more on music.
No, you're fine. You're fine.
This album came out this year.
Educate the public, Zach.
This album came out this year, and it was like scattered. The band The Neighborhood, famous for Sweater Weather, Daddy Issues, good band. They released an album this year that was kind of weird. It was really unique the way they did it. They had 3 EPs. One was called Hard, and it had a couple songs on it. One was called To Imagine, came out a couple months later, had a couple songs on it. And then they released an album called The Neighborhood with songs from both those albums on it. But then they released a third album called Ever Changing that was like some of the songs from the record, but with featuring artists with like Ghostface Killah is one of the featuring artists on one of the songs. And it's like more of like hip-hop centric. But then at the end of the year, like about a month ago, they spliced them all together and made it into an album called Hard to Imagine The Neighborhood Ever Changing. And it was like this. It's like this 23-track record with all this really eclectic stuff on it, and it's really, really interesting and really, really good. And that track with Ghostface Killah is awesome, and it's like a Wu-Tang song that they totally forgot about and just like unearthed in 2018. So that's really, really good. Really, really good record. Interesting like release structure. And then obviously for anybody that knows me, my favorite record of the year was the 1975's new album. It's amazing. It's hard to say. It's hard to not say everything about it, but it's diverse and streamlined at the same time.
Like this bourbon.
Like this bourbon.
Wild Turkey Long Branch.
Yeah, it's twice filtered with mesquite charcoal. But the album ranges from everything to auto-tuned bubble pop to a song that sounds like it came straight out of the La La Land soundtrack.
Oh, so you're just honeypotted already.
Yes, so it's literally if someone
you
were
got
to
your
sit
paw
down,
stuck in that honey pot, boy.
if someone were to sit down and say, "What's an album that we can make that Zach Rotella would like?" This is it. It's like it's everything
Of course,
that I like.
yeah.
It's techno, it's pop, it's rock, it's emo '90s stuff that sounds like The Verge, The Verve. Sorry, not The Verge, The Verve, or Oasis. It's great. I love it, and that's all. That's the music.
You didn't talk about my favorite album of the year.
What's your favorite album of the year?
The Black Panther album.
Oh!
My favorite artist currently is Kendrick Lamar. And he produced the album. He wrote he was in part of a majority of the tracks on the album. They got a lot of good people that are, well known, like when they got, what was it, The Weeknd for all that shit. And SZA. But they also incorporated some new people to kind of give them a good launching pad, and I think it ties in really well with the film.
It does,
which I'm sure we'll talk about later.
We will.
But I'm not as well versed in the music. You have piqued my interest with like 2 or 3 albums that I'll have to check out. You can show me the Spotify so I can download them for my plane ride. But yeah, that was my favorite album of the year, and I don't really listen to a whole lot of music, so unfortunate that I don't know more about it. But I think it's pretty good, well-rounded album.
Yeah,
it is.
It's
not Damn. But it's really good.
I mean, it's hard
for a comic book movie soundtrack. It's pretty good.
I mean, Damn is an album that's meant to be listened to as an album. The Black Panther soundtrack is a collection of songs used in the film,
of course.
So it's like different. It's apples and oranges, but still, like the Spider-Verse soundtrack, I feel like those are two kind of like kindred spirits.
Yeah,
they were able to make like
you can mix them in your party
songs.
mix, and people will like it.
Yeah, exactly. So
you can talk about comics and stuff. And
exactly,
you're still cool. Yeah,
they're not maybe like an
to
a front to back sort of album, but they're like it's a perfect shuffle record.
It doesn't tell a story by any stretch of the imagination, but there are some bangers on that album for sure.
Agreed. Pray For Me is still one of the hottest jams.
I think All the Stars is nominated for a Golden Globe.
It's nominated for and an Oscar.
It is? Did those come out?
Wait, no.
I was going to say, those don't usually come out till like January.
Wouldn't that be great if they just came out right now?
Oh my god, that'd be cool.
No, Oscar nominations are not out. Predictions are all over the interwebs.
We can maybe talk about that in a minute. But yeah, so I think it's up against some other stuff like Star is Born and whatnot, so it'll probably lose. But it's still a pretty good song.
Yeah.
Tell me what you gonna do from me.
All right, so what
conversation ain't nothing new to me.
What do you want to do next? We've got
the suit TV.
Do you want to do TV?
The next smallest category.
Okay. Yeah. So TV.
And then we do games and movies.
TV this year.
So I watched 2 shows through completion that I could remember.
Does it feel? Are you with me in agreeing that there's no exciting TV in 2018? I didn't feel like there was anything.
You know what we really missed?
All right, let's just
we missed Game of Thrones. We did. Because you and I we were really high on Westworld, and then we totally stooped off on that. But yeah.
I had no interest in season 2.
Yeah, Stranger Things didn't come out this year.
Nope.
That was last year.
Yep.
I'm not really into that many other Netflix originals, unfortunately. I've heard some good ones came out. I think, wasn't there another season of Handmaid's Tale? So maybe we just don't watch enough television, or we're not interested in as much, but for me and my personal taste, there was not really much to watch this year.
Yeah, I agree.
I was trying to think if The Punisher came out at the beginning of the year, but that was last year too. So it's been kind of a vacant year for television for me.
Yeah. I know there's been a lot of quality released, but nothing that I'm really interested in.
Sure.
And we'll get to that.
Yeah.
But do you want to go? I have mine ranked from I have 3.
Okay.
I have 3 TV shows that I watched in 2018.
2. Yeah.
So I'll say my third, and then we'll go 2, 1, 1.
Got it.
Sound good?
Yeah.
Let me tell you all about a little show called Nailed It.
Nailed it.
And welcome, Carly, to the show.
I can talk about this thing.
Okay, so
We'll pass the baton.
So yeah, have you heard of this shit?
Nope.
Okay, so it's a baking show.
This seems like such a couples thing. That's adorable.
We'll
kind
watch
of a
it
couples
later with you, so get ready.
That's great.
Oh, we have to watch the cop episode. He's gonna love that shit so hard. Okay, so Nailed It. Nailed It is not complex at all.
Sure.
What it is it's a baking show where, like the Great British Bake Off, they have these challenges that they have to do. They have to accomplish, like,
of course,
it's a cake, but it's shaped like the moon, and there's planets around it, and it's all very intricate. But the whole catch of the show is that they get just randos from the street, like random bad home bakers that submit videos and say, like, I'm not a very good baker, but I want to get better, and they'll send these videotapes in, and they'll just pick these randoms and make them compete for, like, I think it's like $10,000. It's a small cash prize, but the whole shtick of the show is that, like, they give them an hour and a half to make these fucking elaborate things on no experience, and they turn out to be the worst things you've ever seen. But the thing that I like about the show is that it's so positive. There's never a moment in the show where you feel like someone is just tearing down on someone for being shitty at baking. It's just everybody's kind of just having fun, and it's funny to watch these people fail miserably at baking. And you also have a really good host. I forget her name at the moment.
Nicole Byer and Jacques Torres.
Yeah, well,
they're
Jacques.
amazing.
So yeah,
they have a really cool chemistry. And
yes,
they're very positive people.
Yes.
Like, Jacques especially is like a teacher at heart. He just wants to, like, help people and make them better. He doesn't want to make them feel like shit.
Sure.
And then Nicole is a comedian, so she just makes it funny.
Yeah.
And they have a great kind of random chemistry, but I think it works really well and it's hilarious.
Yeah. Well, Jacques Torres is like a famous baker, like famous chocolate.
Yeah.
He's like, but he's this sweet French man that is just like explaining all this thing. And it's like, it's very heartwarming and very wholesome. And there seasons came out before this year, but this was the first year that I really started getting into it. There's 3 seasons available, 2 regular ones, and then they did a short holiday themed season. Highly, highly recommend it. I mean, it's like, it's the perfect just like wind down show. Like, it's very relaxing and not like at all stressful or anxietous.
Sure.
So we'll get to the stress and anxiety stuff in a minute, but
okay, cool.
That's nailed it. Check it out. You'll enjoy it.
Yeah. Very nice. So of the 2 shows, my second favorite that I watched was a season of a show that has already existed. It is season 13 of It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
Yeah.
This is actually...
Didn't that air this year?
It did.
Okay.
The past 2 or 3 months. It's actually one of the better seasons, I think. It got off to a really rocky start. Where after like the first episode and even a little bit into the second episode, I was like, this is just going to be kind of middle of the road. But they actually did an interesting thing this season where they tackled a lot of the if you even want to call them, controversial topics in society currently, like who can go into which bathroom and telling family members about your homosexuality. Oof. And all this sorts of stuff that would, and the Eagles winning the Super Bowl. Like, they do a lot of stuff that you would be like, wow, I can't believe they're tackling this stuff, but they handle it in such a good way that is funny but still respectful, and I think they just did a really good job. And all credit, I think, this year goes to the creator of the show, Rob McElhenney, who plays Mac. He did a really good job with coming up with stuff.
He's the show creator?
Yeah. He plays way extremely stupid. And I think he loves doing that. Yeah.
I had no idea. Wait, so does he do all the writing for the show?
So he created the show, and then he developed the show with the guy who plays Dennis, Glenn Howerton. And then him, Charlie Day, and Glenn Howerton are writing partners, and they write a majority of the episodes. Okay. But they get guest writers and directors in a lot of the time.
Yeah.
I mean, the 3 of them just come up with the best stuff for Danny DeVito to do. He had some of the best things this year. Like usual, it was just a really good season of It's Always Sunny, which for a comedy with only 10 episodes per season and still like a 30-minute airtime, sometimes it can get kind of lost in the sauce. But they're still actually going pretty strong. But hopefully it doesn't spread out too thin to the point that it's not fun anymore. So we'll see. But this season was really strong. One of my favorites.
Yeah. It's Always Sunny is one of those shows where my entire life, basically, since that show started, people have said, you'll love it. It's the new Seinfeld.
It's not, but they do recreate some stuff from Seinfeld.
I know, but that's the thing is that, like, I totally get it. Yeah. I get it.
It's not
But Seinfeld. People are missing the point. People miss the point when they say that. It's like, Seinfeld is a show about 4 people that are shitty, but it's funny and lighthearted. Always Sunny is not
No,
lighthearted. They're terrible
anarchists.
people, and they focus on the fact that they're terrible people.
Yeah.
So it's two different things, but it's like similar ideology, I guess. I want to give it. I keep giving it chances, but it's like I need to really like.
You need to pick a starting point.
I started from season 3 and I made it all the way to season 4, maybe even into 5. And it's just
it might not be for you. It's not for everybody.
I think it's just one of those.
It provides great joy to my life.
You need to come up with a list of the 20 best episodes, and I'll just watch those.
Yeah, the best episode is Charlie Work, which if you haven't seen that yet, you should.
What happens in that one?
We'll talk about it another time, but it's a whole tracking shot the whole time. It follows Charlie Day the whole episode. Oh. It's awesome. The second best episode is The Gang Beats Boggs.
Yeah, that's
which
a good
is one. We need to do that someday with our friend group. That's the next guys weekend.
I've seen that one.
And then The Nightman coming.
Yeah, I've seen that one a few times.
Yeah. You gotta get the boys home. Yeah. So that was my number 2 out of 2.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
All right, so my number 2 out of 3 is a Series of Unfortunate Events. Netflix series.
Okay, I have some sacrilegious comments to make
Sure.
before you dive in. I've never read those books,
I think that's
nor have I
sacrilegious.
seen the original film.
Don't
That's
watch
not
it.
sacrilegious.
Okay,
Don't.
so
But you should read the books
I have no
first.
skin in the game whatsoever, but I've always heard that they're fantastic. So please regale me of your enjoyment of watching this. Was this season 2?
So
is
yeah,
this the second book, or is it like a couple books?
The book, there are 12 books, and the show is divided up into 3 seasons.
13 books.
Are there 13? Oh yeah, that's right, 13 books. Sorry. And so each season has 4.
4, and 5.
4,
is how
4,
we're
5.
breaking it up.
Okay.
4 books.
Yeah.
How many episodes per season?
It's 8, right?
So it's like 2 episodes a book?
Each book has
book is
2
2
So
episodes.
it's a 2-parter per book? That's pretty cool.
And the 13 books.
It's like a small scale Deathly Hallows, rinse and repeat.
Kind of. And so the third season drops tomorrow.
Oh shit,
Or
really?
on January 1st, so not tomorrow.
When did
after.
the second season drop?
Earlier this year.
Oh.
They filmed it
This
all
year's
at once.
been
They filmed it
so
all at
long.
once.
Oh, okay,
they filmed
that's-
it all at once, and then they've
That's
just
smart.
been like
Neil
editing
Patrick
it and
Harris
releasing
is a
it.
busy man, so
If they filmed it all at once, too, the baby would get too old. Or if they didn't film it all
Yeah.
at once, the baby would get too old.
good point. Not that I know what the baby does, but I understand how anatomy works.
Yeah.
an
It's
extent.
great. I mean, I think that anyone can enjoy it. I don't think I don't think you necessarily have to be a fan of the books or the lore of the lore of the story to enjoy it. It's a well told story, and it's very it's eclectic. Like I've said before, it's like it's like the closest thing to a Wes Anderson thing that's not Wes Anderson that you'll get. It's very cute and endearing, but it's about some like really depressing stuff. So that dichotomy makes it unique. That's how the books are too. I think everyone involved with the show does a great job. The writing team is really, really good in terms of like making the characters, fleshed out within, because you only get a couple episodes to get acquainted with these characters, especially the villains, because it's kind of like a villain of the week thing. You have Count Olaf, that's like the overarching thing, but then in every episode or every book that there's a different set of characters that gets introduced, and then they leave, or they die, or they get like shoved off, and then they come back. But it's like you get limited time, and the writers do a really good job of like making you feel some sort either empathy or disdain or relatability for all these characters. And the best part about it is the cast. Whoever the casting agent for this TV show fucking just nailed it. Like, everybody is perfect. Like, Neil Patrick Harris does a great job as Count Olaf, but no duh. Neil Patrick Harris is pretty much great in everything he's ever done. He's just a really great, like, eclectic, very showmanship, like, swindler kind of atmosphere, kind of guy. But, like, all the minor characters are casted with people that are, like, perfect for that role. All the Guardians are perfect. All of, like, the henchmen for Count Olaf are great. The orphans, like the Baudelaires, they're really, really well done and well acted, and they don't feel like Tobey Maguire and Spider-Man, where they're too old to be, like, in high school. they actually feel like kids.
35-year-old high schooler.
But they're well acted and well done. So I really like the show. I'm very excited to see how it wraps up in the new year. But yeah.
Well, I'm currently rereading the books, and I realized that they kind of took a turn with the last episodes that we watched. So I'm excited to see that's different from the books.
Yeah.
So I'm interested to see how that works. But what impressed me the most is how much they feel when you're watching it, how the book reads, because the books are, if you haven't read them, are very unique in the writing style, and they feel, it's really hard to describe, but they feel the same way that you feel when you watch the show. It's like this weird, like, eclectic, nostalgic feeling where it's just really interesting. So
yeah,
I'm excited to see how it goes.
Yeah, it's really good. I mean, I for someone that is not involved or has no knowledge of the series at all, I don't really honestly know what the best way. I think pick the medium that you find.
I'd probably
most
buckle down and read the books. That's probably what I should have done years ago. You know,
I mean, they're easy reads.
I only started rereading them like a couple weeks ago, and I've read through 3 so far.
They're easy reads.
And I'm not an avid reader. I mean, I don't read a ton. So.
I haven't read one since God knows when. I read all of them at one point, but like it's been years since I read them.
Yeah.
And so I picked up the TV show and I was like, I remember this. It totally felt one-to-one to me. Like there might be some story beats, like you were saying, that are different, but
just recently is when I noticed it. The other ones have seemed pretty. I mean, I started rereading them from later, so I can't really speak to the earlier episodes. From what I remember, that it seemed pretty on point. But the most recent episode and book that I read, there was one significant difference. I don't want to spoil it.
Okay,
anything, I guess.
We'll talk about it later.
It's not a spoiler, I guess, actually. Madame Lulu is not the same person in the book as she is in the show.
Mm.
So I'm just interested to see how that gets handled.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah.
But yeah, January 1st, Season 3 comes out, and that's it. That's the other thing I like, is that it's contained. Season 3 comes out, that's the end.
Mm-hmm.
That's literally the whole thing. So it's like, if you want to watch the thing, it's like, it's all there. You don't have to... None of this Game of Thrones bullshit where it's like, oh, is it going to come out next year? I don't know. When's it going to come out? I don't know. And then you're just like in constant torment of not knowing what's going to happen to the end of this story, which I dig. Thumbs up. 2 thumbs way up. Are you going again, or am I? Were you going to talk about Daredevil?
That was my number 1.
That was your number 1?
Spoilers.
All right, so there you go.
Lunch. I couldn't even reveal it. God. Season 3 of Daredevil. Show got canceled, but Season 3 of Daredevil was really good. It was my favorite season of Daredevil, which is saying a lot because that first season is just bangers. I think they kind of went a little too far off in season 2. We're trying to set up a bunch of different things with like the Punisher and Elektra and the Hand, but they brought things back to the roots of this one, so it's very focused on Matt and Karen and Foggy and Vincent D'Onofrio as the Kingpin, and introducing Bullseye, which is one of the most important Daredevil and Marvel Comics characters ever. That dude literally has probably the best villain kill list ever. If you were like, oh, I like villains, I like when they get rid of main characters. Like, he's killed a lot of people. But
Bullseye?
But they casted him really well.
Who's he casted as?
Can you look it up? His name escapes me. But they don't do like the thing where they're like, let's put him in the striped pajama suit and stuff like that. But they focus a lot on him, which is great. The Kingpin steals the show like normal. He wears that beautiful white suit the whole time, which is cool that they tapped into that. But it's just a good character study of all of the main characters of Daredevil this year. They had a whole episode about Karen Page, which was
Wilson
awesome.
Bethel.
Yeah. Plays Benjamin Poindexter, a.k.a. Bullseye. It was just so good, and I was really excited for what they were going to do in season 4.
But don't you miss that?
They messed it up. I do miss Colin Farrell. Bullseye. He just
God, what a shit movie.
That's a bad one.
I wonder if I have that on DVD. We should watch that tonight.
I have it on DVD. You can watch it. But anyway, Daredevil season 3 is really good, but I don't really know what else to say about it because it's probably never going to come back, which is sad. So.
It'll come back in some respect.
I do think they ended it in a way that if they never brought it back, it's good enough to end it. It's not what I would hope a last season would be. But
are you concerned for the Punisher? Season 2.
No. I like it a lot. I liked season 1 quite a bit. But I'm sure at this point, they had to have known the writing was on the wall. So I bet you it's just going to be like a two season one and done kind
It's
of
going to be like a simple arc that gets resolved and leaves like a little bit open ended.
I actually don't think it should have a second season.
The Punisher?
Yeah, because I think they tackled the best story arc that he has in the first season, and it was really solid the whole way through. And then I don't really know what they're going to do next. But
well, did you read the article? I could pull it up, but there was an article that
is Daredevil in Punisher season 2?
No, you might actually here. I'm going to look this up because you might actually have some sort of like
got some skin in the game.
Yeah, you might have some skin in the game with this, but apparently the villain. Oh my god. Reddit's not.
Zach just got a computer virus.
I've never seen that before.
Twinkle, twinkle, big star.
There it is. Let's see. Reddit, why aren't you working? John, sing Auld Lang Syne.
What?
Sing Auld Lang Syne. Alright, let's let it.
Wild Turkey Long Branch.
The Punisher Season 2 villain is an alt-right Christian fundamentalist.
Ooh, nice. He's gonna murk that dude.
In a new report from Collider, we finally learned more about Frank Castle's latest foe for The Punisher Season 2, a character named John Pilgrim, played by actor Josh Stewart. The villain has been described as alt-right, a term that's associated with white nationalism and extreme conservatives. Do you know anything about this?
Dude, he's hunting neo-Nazis.
Really?
Yeah.
That sounds pretty cool.
Yeah, it's cool. That's awesome.
I'm good with that.
Did you watch the first season of The
No.
Punisher?
I haven't watched any Netflix Marvel besides Jessica Jones, and I didn't care for it.
Really?
Yeah.
You should watch.
And I watched some of Daredevil Season 1.
You should watch. Daredevil and Punisher are the only two that I've watched the whole way through. I think they're really solid. But Punisher Season 1 was really dope, and that sounds like a cool story arc. So I'm in for it. I think John Bernthal is one of my favorite actors. I think he's really cool. He nails that part. I just think he's dope in everything that he's in. Like, that was when he was in Baby Driver, I was so pumped, and then he wasn't in the rest of Baby Driver, and I was like, boo.
But he was so good in the part
I
that he was in.
I know, but I was like, come on. And now it's like, can we trade him for Kevin Spacey?
All the villains. Yes.
John Hamm's
so
sick
good
in
in Baby Driver.
So good.
Yeah, the
That's a
Rogues
good movie.
Gallery in
That's
Baby
a-
Driver
that's
is
a
just
great movie.
it's so damn good.
Let's watch that.
It's such a good film. I should have bought it on Blu-ray. It was on sale for like $11.
Let's go to Walmart right now after this episode. Let's buy some Baby Driver.
Buy some babies. Gotta go buy some
We're gonna
babies.
have to Uber there.
All right, we gotta.
Heyo.
We're coming up on an hour, so we gotta.
All right, what's your number one?
My number one is The Haunting of Hill House.
Okay, so don't ruin it for me.
No,
because I am gonna watch it.
John,
I know, but
I'm not gonna ruin it.
Okay. I'm gonna move these
You're
because
talking to the person who plugs his ears and moves his ears.
it's the cutest thing I've ever
Spoilers.
seen. That Force Awakens line.
That was so scared.
Take me back.
I was so scared.
That was awesome.
Yeah, Hill House is great. It's might be the best television show I've seen in a long time.
Since Stranger Things.
It rivals in times of the show. It rivals some of my favorite TV shows, like TV series, which like Sherlock, Mr. Robot, Stranger Things, Game of Thrones. It's so well made. It's the best ghost story ever, maybe.
More than The Shining?
Shining's not really a ghost story.
Well, depending on who you talk to.
Shining is more of like a... I don't know what you call The Shining. The Shining is everything.
They have ghosts.
Shining's like a psycho thriller.
Can we talk about how thick this cork is?
It's a great cork.
It's a dope cork.
It makes a great sound.
I'm gonna
every
eat
time
it.
you pull out.
Yeah, we never found that cork for the 101, by the way.
I told Carly I haven't passed it yet, so I definitely didn't eat it. But that's not off the table. I exposed my nuts the other night, so...
Radiovania. Yeah, Hill House, man. Holy God. It's good. It's
8 episodes?
It's 8 episodes. It's no shorter than it needs to be. It's no longer than it needs to be. It tells a story and it's done. And it ends in such a great great way where it's the most satisfying horror movie I've ever seen. But it takes so long to get there. Like, it's like, I'm not, this isn't a spoiler, but the way that the show is structured is that you get an episode for every main character leading up to this one episode where they all come together.
It's like Lost, but yeah.
Exactly, but it's better.
I'm sure. I'm sure. Yeah.
It's like each.
But never mind.
You really get into the psyche of these characters.
Okay.
And so when the episode does eventually come, where it really like boils up, it means so much more.
That's cool.
I was not expecting to enjoy the show as much. Some movie podcasts I listened to really enjoyed it, so I was like, well, I'll give it a shot. Carly really wanted to watch it. We put it on. I was like enthralled from the get-go. Like the way that it's shot, the way that the score is done. There are hardly any jump scares in the movie. In the show. There's no like loud noises and clanging and ghosts going. Blah, 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 blah. It's like,
damn it.
The scariest shit is like they'll pan up and it's like silence and just something there, and it's like so unsettling and scary, and I loved it. It was great. Some of the best written characters in anything. And also, I need to look up his name. What were you going to say?
I was just going to say that it's really it's unique because it's like in the horror genre, but it's this show that's, I feel like at least I'm used to seeing horror movies where it's really hard to get invested because, one, it's not really a lot of time. You don't get to like really care about the characters, but the way that they set the show up, has great character development, but then also it's very relatable because of this. It also has a lot of drama in it, and like all of these relationships that the characters have with their siblings and with their family. Yeah. It's something that I feel like a lot of people can, relate to. It's family drama.
It's a horror. Yeah, it's a horror movie with the backbone of like a romantic comedy.
I'd say like a drama.
A romantic drama.
Like a romantic drama. But
yeah. I know what you're saying.
I feel like it just has, because there's so many characters that are so well developed, it has something that you can kind of see yourself in a lot of those scenarios, which I thought made it all the more entertaining and all the more, like, I cared about the characters, but then that also made it more scary because they could do more simple things to make me scared for them because I actually cared about the characters. It didn't have to be a jump scare or some, like, wild, stupid thing to make me scared. It could be just, like, one of the characters is, like, simply kind of endangered a little bit, and it made me care a lot more because I cared about the character.
Yeah. This is my problem with modern horror. It's like, what was that? I can't even remember the last fucking horror movie I saw. That wasn't like this, but like
The Witch.
No, The Witch is awesome though. But The Witch is great.
Yeah, that's true.
But it's like, yeah, it's just it's the most grounded ghost story ever, and it works, and it makes it so much scarier than like.
Is it better than?
I'm thinking of like The Haunting in Connecticut.
Huh?
Is it better than Eddie Murphy's Haunted Mansion?
No way.
Yes.
Okay.
There's ghosts in here.
And then I'm also gonna make a statement on the show.
Make it.
There's a man that plays a character in the show called Luke Crane.
That's the name of the actor?
No. The actor's name is Oliver Jackson Cohen.
Okay.
This dude could play Batman. And that's reason enough for you to watch the show. He plays more of like a sub dude.
He's trying to honeypot me right now.
He's
so Carlo,
young.
You're the voice of reason.
He's young in the show. He's a little too young, but like,
is Matt Reeves scouting this boy?
He has a little bit of that. He has that like tormented personality that I could see being like a very good sort of.
That's true. He played
Bruce
a tortured soul very well in this show. So yeah, I think. With
give him a few years.
Of age,
yeah,
I think he could be really good. That's my. I mean,
this guy could be Batman.
Not qualified to say in front of you who I think Batman could be.
Oh, you're more than qualified. You've seen 5 episodes of the animated series in like the past week.
Okay. Well then, yeah, I think
this dude could be Batman. He's got the face too. Like He's got like
Let me see this guy.
he's got like a chiseled jaw. Like you could imagine him with the cowl. But in the show, he's got like this. He's kind of like he's like the anxietist, like kind of like the tortured one. Like he's got a bad past. So he's got like a beard. It's like scruffy. He's unkept. He's wearing these loose clothing. Yeah, he looks like fucking Bruce Wayne in Batman Begins.
I have an interesting quick side question.
Okay,
is Batman the most desirable pop culture role as a male actor?
Yes.
More than like James Bond?
Yes. Different audiences,
I think so too.
but I say yes.
We're always like, who is the next Bat? You know,
Yeah,
like we're always looking to the future.
Batman is, it's like he's an icon.
He's become like urban myth at this point. You know, like he's just like included in the plethora of characters that are recycled.
Yeah. And
like
it's
Sherlock
news.
Holmes and Bond and
It's not just like pop culture news that you read on like some random video game website, but it's also like the New York Times will report Ben Affleck is the new Batman. It's like it's a big deal when someone's Batman.
If you could dream cast anybody at the perfect age, who would you want to play Batman?
That's a loaded question.
He's gonna say himself.
No, I don't think I could be a good Batman.
You couldn't play Batman. I'm sorry.
No, I couldn't be Batman.
I think it's tough. I mean, I don't even know if I have an answer. So let's move on.
Yeah.
Think
well,
about
what's next? Are we going to talk about games?
Yeah, let's do games.
We're going to take a quick break. Sing the love theme song, or what's it? The flea, Spittle Spanish Fee.
What? You do it.
We're going to take a break. Say we're going to take a break.
We're going to take a break. Let's move it on to the video game category of
Video
the year.
games.
Yep, I did not play as many games as you did. So I only played, I think, 4 that were released in this calendar year. And I will run through them quickly, and then if you want to, we can run through your list, and then we can talk about the comparisons that we have. How about that?
I'm fine
And
with
then
that.
you can elaborate on things that I didn't play.
I'm fine with that.
So my number 4 of 4 was NBA 2K19. I just have to throw it on there because it's one game that I bought. I think it's really good. They actually mastered the passing dilemma, if you want to call it that, because in the past 2K games, I felt like you turned the ball over way too frequently. But now you have 3 different options for passes. So you could do a chest pass, bounce pass, or like where you jump up and like throw it in there to somebody. So that was really fun. My number 3 is a game that I don't even own, but I've played a lot recently, which is Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. Very fun, really cool to have all the characters and the stages and stuff. I just it reminds me how much I love the fighting party game. Number 2 for me was Spider-Man on PS4, which I'm sure we'll get into a discussion later, which was usurped by God of War, which is my favorite game of the year. A game that I haven't even completed 100%, but the story alone was enough to earn it the number 1 spot in my heart. Goo.
So just quick run through, right?
Yeah, and then we'll compare.
Yeah, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Number 8 on my list was a game called Hollow Knight. Indie game from a studio that I'd never heard of that made this like artsy art house music game. Not music game. I saw my music list. And, oh boy, starting to feel it. That long branch.
Is this your first glass of Long Branch?
No, this is my third. Second. This is my second.
You sure?
I'm positive.
All right.
Hollow Knight, side-scrolling Metrovania style RPG. Really, really good. Very hard. Very brutal. I didn't finish it. I didn't even come close to beating it, but I love the art style. Number 7 on my list was Fallout 76. It was
all right. Talk about this.
Yeah,
just a little bit.
So, I mean, I'm sure people listen to us more for the movie and television talk. The video game talk is not as...
I think, and Cal, if you're listening, you can text me and tell me I'm an idiot, but I think he gets his video game recommendations from you.
I hope. No, Cal?
Because, like, he's told me before, he's like, I wasn't even thinking about buying this fucking Horizon game, and then Zach was like, oh, this is the best game I've played in a long time, and he's like, and I went out and bought it, and I thought it was really good. So I think he gets a lot of his video game purchases from the show.
Hey, you're welcome, Cal. Yeah, so Fallout 76. Could have been worse. Could have been better. It's
a couple things this year.
Yeah. great environment. Like this
West Virginia.
Yeah, West Virginia.
Might be the best video game trailer I've seen in a while.
The trailer for the game is damn near perfect. It's so exciting and intriguing, but then you get into the game and you're like, okay, what do I do? Not much. You kind of just go build shit and fetch shit and try to buy shit. It's really, really... The problem that I have is that everything in the game is basically perfect, except for I never felt motivated to do any of it. Like...
That's rough.
Yeah, in Fallout 4, you're doing a lot of the same stuff. In all RPGs, Skyrim, Witcher, frickin' Zelda, it's like you're going out and doing basically the same thing every time. Go kill this enemy, bring this back, or earn this to get stronger.
Fetch quests.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's every major video game. But when a video game is able to disguise that and make it not feel like a chore and make it feel exciting every time, that's when you know you're playing a good game. Fallout 76, I started to feel the wear and tear after about 10 to 12 hours. And I was like, I'm not enjoying this. I don't really feel motivated to go forward, so I eventually just dropped it. I said it's not... I enjoyed my time. Definitely, please do not pick this up at 60. As much as I love Bethesda's a great developer, but
sure,
this game is not... Personally, for me, I didn't feel like it was worth $60. I certainly didn't feel like it was worth my time. I feel like there are plenty of other games out there that are worth my time. This one was not one of them. It was fun for the time being, but man, what a waste of talent. That's what I kept thinking, was that the world design and the environment design for West Virginia was so beautiful. Like, there was at one point... Yeah, there was one point where I was listening to... I was listening to the radio station on my Pip-Boy, and I got to this, like, abandoned aircraft field, and there's like all these airplane hangars that are like along this ridge and this mountain, and there's airplanes that have been crash landed that the people had turned into like refugee camps. And I'm walking up the side of this and I'm just like, man, this is so pretty and unique. And then fucking Cum Dragon 69 sniped me and then like
that's
danced
not true,
on my grave.
That would be me, and I don't have the game.
Yeah. So yeah. Number 6 on my list, Fortnite. Not a bad game.
Fuck Fortnite.
Fuck the haters.
This is all I gotta say. Okay, listen, it's ruining the youth of America. I see it every day. I saw it for a whole calendar year 2018. This is rotting the brains of America's youth. They don't know anything but Fortnite, and it's turning them into little goddamn shits. That's all I have to say about Fortnite. So this gets a negative vote on my thing. This should be your 100th favorite game of the year, not 6 or whatever this is. But anyway, why do you like Fortnite?
Fortnite's a good game. It's
not.
The problem is that it's free. So anyone can play it, including shit kids that probably shouldn't be playing video games.
Well, until the rich kids show up and they're like, yeah, I bought this skin and I bought this skin and I bought this skin. And I'll be like, skins are a waste of your money. And they're just like, shut up, old man. And I'm just like, fuck you. And that's usually how that conversation goes.
That's pretty accurate.
Listen, you just gotta...
Somebody's gotta tell them.
You can't take shit and you gotta be able to talk shit when you're dealing with kids these days, because this generation is haunting.
Yeah.
When we were like in school, when we were younger, if a teacher was like mad at us, we were like, oh shit. But these kids are just like, whatever. I'll just go home and play Fortnite. Everything's fine. It's bad. It's bad. Anyway, keep going. Just go to your next game, because I don't want to talk about Fortnite anymore.
That's fine. Number 6 on my list, Smash Bros.
Oh, the last one was number 6.
8, 7, 6. Oh yeah, number 5 on my list is Smash Bros.
5, wow.
It's great. It's exactly Smash Bros. That's the thing, is that like Smash Brothers has not been Smash Brothers. Like, the thing is that every Smash Brothers iteration since Melee has just been like,
you like this? Here's some more of this.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes. Melee was the last one that really felt like a change. So it's like,
is that your favorite?
I have the most fond memories of Melee.
I think Melee's my favorite.
Let's put it that way.
Yeah. I think the current game, as much as I like it, has too much.
I don't think so. I think it's perfect.
We were talking about this. There's like 12 Fire Emblem characters.
That's the thing,
best.
but there's every other character from every other game, so it's kind of hard to complain. Plus, like 6 new ones that aren't Fire Emblem characters. The thing is that like I'm talking about the game changing. The game has not changed since Melee.
Sure.
It's the same game, just repackaged with better graphics, with different characters and more characters. The new one is probably the best one because it's portable.
It has everything.
And it has everything. But Melee will always hold a special place in my heart.
Sure.
So was that 5?
That was 5.
Number 4 is a game called Celeste.
You were talking about
Celeste is awesome. It's a 16-bit side-scrolling platform game that is a little puzzly, but it's a game about like depression and anxiety, told through this girl that's trying. It's a very simple story. It's this girl that's like an adventurer, and she's trying to climb a mountain, and it's just what she deals with on the way while she's climbing the mountain. But the game is fun. It's like each individual room has these little obstacles that you're supposed to try to avoid and get out of the way of. But all the while you're doing this, the motivation is that she's like trying to do this for herself. And there's a really well done story, like way better of a story than any game like this deserves to have, about like doubting yourself and about past mistakes. And it's alluded to that she may have had like a relationship with someone that they might have like left her, and it's like really, really heartfelt and emotional. And like I was not expecting to get hit with something like that from this little 16-bit puzzle game, and it's great. The soundtrack is awesome too. It's like a Castlevania, Metroid, Mario Brothers score. It's like classic 16-bit music. It's great. I love it. Celeste is great.
Nice.
Really challenging too. So it's a game.
So I can play it on my PS4.
No. Oh wait, is it available on PS4? I played it on Switch, but I don't know if it's available on PS4. Let me check.
All right, let me guess your top 3 real quick. Can I?
Yeah, it's available on PS4 right now for $19.99.
Okay. Very nice.
So you're gonna guess my top 3.
Do you want me to? You can reveal them if you want.
That's fine.
That's kind of cheap.
I'm fine.
All right, your top 3 are...
Are you gonna guess them in order from 3 to 1?
Yeah.
Okay.
Number 3 is... Number 3 is Spider-Man.
Don't get many things.
Number 2 is Red Dead Redemption 2. And number 1 is God of War.
Close.
Damn it! All right.
You're very close.
What do we got?
Number 3 is Spider-Man.
Okay.
Spider-Man was great.
Is Red Dead your favorite of the year?
Okay, so
Traitor!
Yeah, so John already said enough about Spider-Man. Spider-Man PS4 was great.
We didn't talk about it at all. Because I read through my list.
Oh, shit. Well, then let's talk about it. Spider-Man PS4.
Yeah. Neither of us have played the DLC.
No.
So we're going off of the base game.
Yeah.
Very fun. Repetitive at times. But overall, good experience. Good step in the right direction.
Yeah. What I liked about Spider-Man PS4 was that it had its own identity.
Zach is pouring another glass of Wild Turkey Long Branch.
Spider-Man PS4 had
refined with mesquite Texas charcoal.
Yes, sir.
Nice, smoky, smooth aftertaste.
Your listeners are tired of hearing that.
Are they though? I feel like I have a pretty good
I'm tired of hearing
McConaughey.
it.
Wow. Okay, way to keep it real.
Yeah. Okay, so Spider-Man. Great gameplay. Great visuals.
Yeah.
My problem was kind of a...
Predictable?
Huh?
Predictable,
yeah, I feel
you knew
that.
he was going to become Dr. Octopus.
Yeah. Predictable. Also kind of like... They played it really safe with the story. Unlike Spider-Verse. Spider-Verse took risks with Peter Parker and that story. Spider-Man PS4 is about what you would expect from a Sam Raimi reboot.
This is the first installment, though.
Yeah. So there's room to grow. I also thought that the villain was a little weak. Like the main villain, like Mr. Negative. I liked him.
I told you he was going to be weak before we went into it. And turns out I was right.
Yeah.
Also, he wasn't made up for the game. Like I thought he was. I went back. Yeah, he's a character. But yeah, he kind of sucked.
He
But
didn't
you know who didn't suck?
He didn't suck. His
Tombstone.
Tombstone was pretty awesome. But the thing is that like
The boss fight with him was awful, dude. I did not like that fight.
It was bad.
It was not good.
But
the Doc Ock one was.
That's the thing, is that
creme de la creme.
the good thing about Spider-Man for the PlayStation was that they did a great job of cementing that rogues gallery. Every fight felt different, like when you were fighting the Shocker versus Doc Ock versus Mr. Negative, and they all felt like they had their various different sort of atmospheres. And so it never felt, even though a lot of the things you were doing in the game were samey, I never felt bored doing them.
Sure.
So that was my biggest praise of Spider-Man. Other than the fact that they just crafted a great Spider-Man game that feels so good to play.
Good voice actors.
Great voice cast, yeah.
It was just fun. I mean, it's very therapeutic at times. You know, you could just run around and swing on stuff for a while, and then like do that for like 15 minutes. Then you're like, okay, I'm good.
Yeah. One of the 2 games on this list I platinumed.
Congratulations, you're a hero.
Thank you.
All right, let's talk about God of War
Yeah,
and
God
why
of War.
you heinous man did not put it as number 1.
So you haven't played Red Dead yet.
I played it for like 20 minutes. Just
Yeah, so God of War is, until I played Red Dead, God of War was maybe one of the best games I've played since Uncharted 4, since The Last of Us.
You're speaking my language.
God of War is a methodical, slow-paced action game with weight and beautiful visuals and a fantastic story that plays off of so many different mythological elements, and I loved it from start to finish.
So why is a cowboy game better? Tell me. I'm curious. Because we've talked about God of War plenty in the past. We reviewed it already this year.
Did.
So.
We already did. I don't know.
Could it be that you're sadistic in nature and you like to be able to just murder anything?
No, I'm a good guy. I was a good guy.
I'm just kidding.
Throughout God of War. Throughout Red Dead Redemption, I was
Have
always...
you finished the story?
Yes.
Okay. So what are you doing on it now?
I haven't started... I finished the... no spoiler. Please, for the love of God, anyone out there that hasn't played this game, stay the fuck away from spoilers. Once the game was over, and I moved to online. So it's like whenever I turn on Red Dead, I'm just playing online. I'm free roaming.
Which is what we did before we started this.
Exactly. Checking out cities, looking around, hunting animals, trying to earn money, getting better clothes. The main story...
Anything you can want.
The main story of Red Dead Redemption is the best Quentin Tarantino movie ever made.
Wow.
It's like, imagine Django Unchained and The Hateful Eight had a baby, but you could play it. You're hunting bounties. You're in an outlaw gang. There's drama. You have to move towns. You're trying to get money. You're trying to survive. It's really one of the most immersive video games I've ever played. Like, honestly, like God of War is a fantasy game, but for some reason, Red Dead Redemption just stuck with me in terms of being so immersive. Like God of War was an experience, and I loved it, and it was challenging, and I loved God of War enough to platinum it. Like the Valkyries, fuck my life. That was the worst week ever trying to fight all the Valkyries. But I loved God of War so much. But Red Dead, for whatever reason, it just takes my number 1 spot because I loved the world. I loved their fictional representations of the South. Of New Orleans, of like the swampy marshes, and there's the snowy mountains. It was so diverse and interesting, and I don't know. It's honestly, it's like they're both my favorite game of the year. It's hard for me to even pick because it's like I go back and forth.
I'm sure Red Dead has more to offer because knowing Rockstar, it's just a longer game, you know, and maybe that plays into it a little bit. I still haven't played it yet. I'm sure I will like it quite a bit. But congratulations. I'm glad you had a fun time.
Yeah. I also think that Arthur Morgan is one of the best characters in video game history. Mm-hmm. So is Kratos, though. That's the thing, is that like Kratos is such an interesting character. Like, he's been through so much, and in God of War you see that like that come to full circle with him like teaching his son.
I mean, God of War has quite possibly one of the oh shit moments of the year for me.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And I didn't.
Are you talking about the very end?
No.
Are you talking about the Blades of Chaos?
Yeah. I didn't even play the other games. I was just like, this shit rocks.
Yeah, that was the moment when the game went from a 9 to a 10 for me. Like, it was like, this game is really, really good. I'm really having a lot of fun. But then when he's on the boat and Calliope is talking to him and like the spirit, I was like, fuck yes, here we go. And then it's just, from then on, it's just it's awesome.
Yeah.
The whole way through the story is so good. I loved Mimir.
It's got all my favorite voice actors.
Can we talk about Can we talk about Troy Baker and
Magni
Nolan North
and Modi? Yeah.
And then whoever voiced Mimir, right?
Okay, so you told me it was the voice of Alfred, which you are correct, but is not the voice of Alfred in the animated series.
The new Alfred.
It is the voice of Alfred in a shorter television series called The Batman in 2004, which was good, but it's not the same series.
Okay.
But he did a really cool job. He was my favorite character.
Mimir.
He was my favorite character.
I
found myself paddling around the lake listening to stories for like 20 minutes, and then I'd be like, "Oh my god, I'm late for work," or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. So so in short, in all that said and done, I did want to reiterate that God of War and Red Dead are literally, they're my two examples of a perfect video game. It's like comparing my two children, honestly. It's like those are the two best games I played this year.
Picking
maybe
between me and Carly.
Years.
Yeah.
Exactly. I just don't know which one to pick.
That's a compliment that I'm equal with John, so I'll take it. That's all I've ever heard.
Let's talk about some movies. Okay, so
wait, should I play another stock music country song?
No, because Carly's just gonna make fun of me for my McConaughey impression.
Wait,
let's hear it
which
again.
one do? Wait,
No,
you guys pick.
I'm
Here, wait. You guys pick what you think is going to be the best, and then John's going to do his Matthew McConaughey impression to introduce this topic, like at the Oscars.
Here are the nominees.
Yeah, exactly. Wait,
Now
so do you guys what's going to go better with John's McConaughey? Despite the Traffic, My Saddled Heart, The Engagement, Happy Mandolin, Moonshine Town, River Crossing, Avocado Street.
Okay, you gotta stop.
Lonesome Avenue.
This is too many
It's
options.
either Saddle, Heart, or Moonshine Street.
I would agree.
It's gotta be.
Can we taste both of those first?
Yeah, can we get a little...
No, you gotta do it right out. Saddled Heart versus Moonshine Street.
It's probably Moonshine Street.
I think it's Moonshine.
That's Moonshine
Street,
Town.
Same difference.
Whatever the fuck it is.
So before you play it, how many movies did you see this year? Because I think I might have seen a little bit more than you.
I've seen a lot, but I only listed my top 12.
Okay. I saw 15, and I ranked all of them.
Nice.
Do you want me to read mine or yours? Because there are a couple that you saw.
Rank yours until we get to...
What?
So wait, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Can you cut it down to 10?
I can cut down to 10. But we won't be talking about the movies that I despise.
9, 10.
Don't look at, or at least you can look, but don't tell him. He's gonna hate me.
He will.
Yeah, I know.
Ooh.
That's fine. I'm not gonna hate anybody.
He's
Jesus
gonna,
Christ.
No, he's
You
gonna,
might.
he
No,
might.
I'm not.
You might.
Everybody.
You
All right.
might
Hey,
cut
wait.
my
You still
shit.
haven't picked a song.
We talked about it, Moonshine Town.
Moonshine Town. All right. Are you ready to introduce the segment as Matthew McConaughey?
Okay, no.
Here you go, Matthew McConaughey.
You want me to go with my top 10 down?
No, just introduce the segment.
Oh, okay. Welcome to the category of movies. The nominees are as follows, which we'll talk about soon.
I was hoping.
Also, that was a perfect pick.
That was a perfect.
It was a good
Moonshine
pick.
Street.
It was, I didn't know what to say because you didn't want me to read my list. So
No.
what would you want me to do?
Welcome back to Radiovania. We're
Right,
going to talk
start
to you
over.
about movement.
Start
No,
over.
we already the moment's passed. John.
It's not
No,
past.
We can cut all
All right,
this out. Do
fine.
it again.
Then
Take
we're
it in
doing
post.
we're doing
No, Moonshine
No.
Town. Give me another chance, please.
Here we go. Fine. 3, 2, 1. It's loading. It's still loading. Here it is.
Welcome back to Radiovania. We're sipping on Wild Turkey Long Branch. We're about to move into the category of movies. Shout out to all the filmmakers, crew, cast of all the movies this year. But it's time to get down to the nitty gritty. It's made with Texas mesquite charcoal for a smoky sweetness.
That's more like it. That's what I was hoping for.
Sorry.
All right, so we each have 10.
Yeah.
10 movies that we saw this year ranked. Do you have an honorable mention?
I have a couple honorable mentions, but they're all movies that sucked. So these are the honorable mentions of things that didn't make the cut that I saw that I wish I kind of hadn't. My least favorite movie of the year was Venom, followed by Jurassic World.
Yeesh.
Okay, followed by Fantastic Beasts: The Crime of Grindelwald.
Yeesh.
Followed by The Meg. And then a movie that I didn't dislike but didn't make my top 10, which is Ant-Man and the Wasp.
Okay. That didn't make my top 10 either. That's my one honorable mention is number 11 is Ant-Man 2.
Oh, wow. Great minds think alike.
Think alike.
If you will.
I'm surprised that The Meg didn't make your top 10 with how highly you praised it a couple episodes back.
Listen, it beat a couple of big blockbusters, so... yeah, I mean, if you're looking to kill some time and it's on Netflix...
What do you call it, a fiver?
It's a good Netflix and chill. What did I say?
A 9 to 5... Or
a 5 o'clocker.
5 o'clocker.
Yeah, that's from the Bill Simmons podcast. His dad, when he was coming home late from work, would go see a movie at 5 so that he wouldn't have to sit in rush hour because it would take him just as long to get home.
Yeah.
And then he'd watch a movie that was really shitty, and then he'd get home around, around dinner time. So The Meg is definitely falls into the 5 o'clocker.
Okay, so do you want to go first?
I want you to go first.
Me to go first. All right, my number 10, Incredibles 2.
I didn't see it. Sounds like it was the same as the first one, though.
It was fine. It was good. I mean, it was good enough to make my top 10.
The only Pixar movie this year.
Yeah. It has some awesome visuals, specifically with the new villain. Like, there's some really, really amazing moments where they utilize the villain's powers and make you as an audience member feel kind of disoriented by it. It's very well shot. The problem is that the story is just not as gripping as the original.
Is
Incredibles.
it 10 years too late?
No, I don't think the length between the two is the problem. I just don't think that the weight of the sequel was heavy enough.
Okay.
I wanted it to be the people we saw that movie when we were kids. The audience for Incredibles is not the younger people that have grown up that are like young people now. It's us. We want to see something that's a little bit more adult. And the problem is that they kind of stuck their toe in that, but then they kind of like, we're going to just end it with a real crazy fight on the battleship. It's like I wanted it to be more adult, and it wasn't.
Okay.
Like that scene in Incredibles 1 where she's saying like, there are people out there that will kill you. Like
that first Incredibles movie is really
it's hardcore.
Yeah.
But then the sequel is a lot more just cartoony.
Sure. Okay.
So
I will watch it when it comes out on Netflix.
But really, really good.
January.
Great animation, great action, great visuals.
All right.
Number 10.
Number 10. So now that we're diving into my list, this is where Zach starts to despise me. My 10th favorite film of the year was Damien Chazelle's First Man. I thought it was kind of boring until things picked up towards the end. There are some great performances. I think the better performer of the movie is actually Claire Foy than Ryan Gosling. I think she did a great job.
I agree. She plays a more complex.
The best part of the movie, obviously, is the part where they're on the moon. The way they shot it was really dope. And is very gut-wrenching, and they tie the whole story together. So it's not like it's a poor constructed movie, but it seems kind of like one of those passion project movies where it's a little too lengthy at times.
Yeah.
It's just, it didn't quite carry as much heart and weight as I was expecting it to. And it's not even a fact that it's like I'm comparing it to La La Land and Whiplash. It's just like, it just seemed like something kind of got lost in it, and maybe it's because we've seen too many astronaut movies before and stuff like that, whether they're good or not.
Yeah.
But I think later on, you and I talked about like our favorite space movies that weren't sci-fi, and it was just like it was kind of hard for me to put it in front of things that were even a little more hokier than that. And I don't really know what it was, but I was really high on it before we saw it, so maybe I hyped it up a little too much. But
it's Damien Chazelle.
Sure, I mean
he's made two of my favorite movies ever
with his friend Ryan Gosling. You know what I mean? It's just like it seemed like it could have been a slam dunk, and I actually think it's gonna do. I don't think it's really doing any Oscar buzz of any kind. It just kind of was plateaued after the first like hour. So that was my number 10.
Yeah, I 10, 9, 8, 10, 9, 8, 7. So First Man's my 7th spot pick. Spoilers.
Interesting.
I liked it a lot. I think it's a really well-made movie. It was so boring.
It's interesting to me that this is 7, though.
Yeah, well, that's the thing is that like
I'm curious to see the rest of your
The
list.
thing is that like I don't have a problem with boring as long as I'm engaged. It's like The Social Network, right? The Social Network has such a boring plot. It's these people trying to fuck each other over on the computer, right? But the thing is, what makes it interesting is the performances. And so during the whole of First Man, whenever there was like a training sequence or like an action sequence, I was always just like, I just want to see more of Ryan Gosling talking to his wife and his kids. And then when I get there, I was like, here we go. Good dialogue. And then it would be some more training things with NASA, and then it would be in the ship, and then, it's the technical stuff, and then, he's talking to his kids again. He's doing a good, interesting dialogue. And it was like, the movie was way too long.
Yeah.
First Man was way too long. They could have cut an hour out of that movie, and it would have still been just as poignant. I like slow-paced movies, but it's like, I always say that, you just have to be in a certain mood to watch like long movies. But with First Man, it's like, man, that's
Imagine
an
if we
investment.
see that tonight,
That's an
man.
investment.
Woo-wee.
You got to really put in the time.
Okay,
So
here we go. This is how we're going to tell if we're good friends or not. With the exception of the moon, what's your favorite scene in First Man? Spoiler alert for the next minute, tops. Have you seen it?
Well, now we can't know if we're friends or not because I haven't seen it.
We're
Didn't
friends.
you guys see it together?
We did.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you have an answer right off the bat? Because I
do. They're having dinner, and he's about to go off into space.
Yeah.
And she's like, "You have to say goodbye to your son."
Yeah, that's a good scene.
And he's just like stone cold. Like I was like, Neil Armstrong's kind of a piece of shit. And I was like, I don't know if I like this guy as much as I thought I did. But that was some really good Gosling acting.
Yeah. I don't know. I really like the scene. I like the scene after the accident,
Yeah, that's a good one too.
and he's.
But I think this is kind of where the movie suffers a little bit, right? It's a little, it's so historically accurate that it's
That's
like
bloated.
watching a History Channel episode or something like that. And I agree with you. It's really well put together, but it just did not grip me.
It's bloated. That's the problem, is that like some editing, some really nice like fine trimming could have made the movie so much more like fluid. But there were so many moments that I felt bored, and but it's like
There's a lot of talking. There's a lot of talking,
and I
about
don't have a
things that
problem
don't
with
make
that.
sense to me.
I don't have a problem with talking in a film, but it's like as soon as I start to check out, it's like the movie just has lost me. That's the thing, is that like cerebral movies, like I keep going back to The Social Network. That movie is a movie about Facebook, but it's interesting because the dialogue is quick and snappy and like really interesting, and it moves at a good pace. Mm-hmm. First Man is, even though it is one of my favorite movies of the year, because I did like how methodical it was, it wasn't a La La Land. And I was expecting that from Damien Chazelle.
But I think it's a little too naive of us to expect that out of a Neil Armstrong movie.
Sure, about a
Because La La
historically
Land,
accurate biopic.
Listen, I don't really care too much for musical movies. I understand their importance in film. I understand there's some really great ones, and I do like a lot of them. But they're not my favorite genre. But La La Land was like lightning in a bottle. It was like reinvigorating this genre at a time that it hasn't been involved in society very much.
Yeah, or altered.
Sure. And I was just like, it was the perfect, like, it was just the perfect time and the perfect place for it. and it was awesome, and I loved it. But this was not that. So
Yeah.
anyway, your number 9.
My number 9. Oh, that's right. I started talking about First Man.
Yep. So we don't have to talk about it as much when we get there.
Black Panther.
Wow. Okay. Things are gonna get heated.
No, John. I love you.
Mm-hmm.
I love you, John.
Love you too.
Love you too. Black Panther was amazing. It was great. It falls apart. It falls apart in the
It's
third
less
act.
exciting than First Man.
I think I respect First Man better as a movie.
Racist.
Black Panther was Black Panther's more entertaining as like an action film.
Yeah.
But the problem is that like Black Panther, and people will say it was on its way up to being one of those like pinnacle movies like Logan or The Dark Knight or Days of Future Past, where it's like a really prominent, very pertinent movie that's like it's a well-oiled comic book machine, but it's also like it says something. But then and in the end, everybody just fights in this battle, and there's CGI rhinos, and it's Martin Freeman shooting down a drone, and it's bad CGI. So the last third of Black Panther, I'm like, I almost just want to shut it off because it sucks so bad, and then I want to turn it back on when Michael B. Jordan gives his final line, because that's awesome. But the whole third act of action just really dampers that movie for me. But everything else about it, I love. So that's it.
Okay. Sorry. Let me get my number 9 out. All right, my number 9 is Ocean's 8.
Oh, wow.
Did you see Ocean's 8?
I did not.
Okay. Have you seen Ocean's 11?
Was that the one with George Clooney?
Listed as number 9.
Dead air.
This is a huge problem.
Dead air.
This is a huge problem. Okay. Well, that's a huge bummer. Ocean's 8.
Fact checker here.
Ocean's 8 might be my number 10, which bumps First Man out of the top 10. My bad. Ocean's 8's really fun, though.
Okay.
It's a really good heist movie. It's got some great actresses in it. It's just good fun.
Sure.
It kind of captures the essence of the first Ocean's movie before the sequels kind of derailed that. But yeah.
I didn't see that, and I wish I had, because Ocean's 11 is one of my favorites.
Yeah, Ocean's 11
movies.
is amazing, and I think Ocean's 8 is the second best in the franchise, barely behind Ocean's 11.
Wow.
I think the premise of Ocean's 8 is really cool. They incorporate the real world, much like the others did, and it's just a star-studded cast of people that are awesome. Like, Sandra Bullock is a badass. Cate Blanchett is just so cool. Like, is one of the coolest characters that I think I've ever seen her play. I mean, even Rihanna does a good job, which I would not have expected from that movie, but she was cool. But yeah, it was just a lot of fun. And then Anne Hathaway is great. And your boy, Richard Armitage, is in it. And
Is he a villain?
yes,
Cool.
he does it really well, though. That was after I saw the movie, I told you, I was like, he should play Bruce
play
Wayne.
that, yeah.
Because he was really, really suave, but kind of an asshole, stuff like that. Yeah. So yeah, Ocean's 8. And then I guess my other number 9, because I don't know how to count, is Deadpool 2.
Hey, that's where my next one is.
Yeah.
Deadpool 2.
So it's your number 8?
That's my number 8.
Okay, so let's talk about Deadpool 2. Really fun, really enjoyable cinematic experience,
Yeah.
but didn't capture me the same way the first one did. It kind of repeated a couple of beats, but still presented some new stuff. I think some of the most fresh parts of the movie were just incorporating newer characters, like Domino. I thought was really, really dope. Josh
awesome.
Brolin did a good job, but I think his performance was overshadowed by another performance that I'm sure we'll get to later. So I think having those in the span of 30 days of each other kind of set the bar a little too high for him as Cable, because I do think he did an amazing job. And then the guy's name escapes me, but that New Zealand actor who plays like
From Hunt for the Wilder People.
the fire guy. But yeah, Deadpool 2, very funny, really good movie.
Yeah.
But it didn't have enough of what makes Deadpool great, which was his relationship with Vanessa.
I disagree.
Okay,
I disagree and agree.
Tell me. Have you seen Deadpool 2?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think I
can
laughed
talk
harder
about
at
this
Deadpool 2 than I did at Deadpool 1.
I don't know. I mean,
So in that
him
alone,
fucking on the table,
I'm
putting
sure
mashed
laughed
potatoes.
harder.
Deadpool. I think Deadpool 2 is a better comedy than Deadpool 1.
There was time. It's hard for me to do this, but there were times in that. I'm sure you remember. There were times when I was just like losing it in that theater, and
It was very funny. The baby penis thing was hysterical.
Yeah, that got me. That really got me. The whole post airplane jump scene got me.
Oh,
like
you with the X-Force?
Yeah.
Holy shit, Brad Pitt.
Yeah.
Greatest cameo of the year.
Yeah.
Potentially.
The thing is that Deadpool 2 I don't really view as a comic book film or an action film. It's a comedy. It's like the whole opening sequence where it's like they killed Wolverine. Like, remember that whole part? It's like that had me in stitches, and it was in like the first 5 minutes. I was like, I'm gonna love this movie.
Yeah, it's very
funny. I have very few criticisms. I
don't really have much either. It's just there's a lot of movies that I like more.
I agree. Yeah, I mean, like,
maybe it's because comedies are good things to enjoy, but it's not like this has such an impact on my life, blah blah blah, stuff like that. But yeah, I mean, it's still really well put together. I'm glad that Disney's going to let them to continue to put out rated R Deadpool movies under a Fox imprint, because I think that would really nerf. They could make 8 of these movies, and I think that they would all be funny. You know what I mean? Like, that guy is really creative. He loves the character. He can convince people to enter into these stupid ass roles.
Yeah,
the stuff with him and Colossus in this movie almost
so good
made me piss my pants. They're so funny. I mean, the X-Men cameo when they're in the Xavier Institute and he like closes the door. That was hilarious. Like, it was really funny.
Yeah,
but yeah.
Yeah, it's really good. Those movies are so self-aware that it's perfect. My criticism for Deadpool 1, I don't remember if you remember this when we did our review for Deadpool. My criticism for that movie was I wish they went harder into the breaking the fourth wall.
This one did a better job.
This one did a better job of it, but I still think they could have even gone farther. Like,
I just like the villain, I think, a lot more in the first one. It was just really great.
Sure.
And that highway, like the freeway chase battle in the first one is so funny.
Yeah, I liked this one had more of a character study. Like, it had the comedy, but it also had like Josh Brolin was like interesting and relatable, and the kid was.
It was almost like Josh Brolin was making fun of like the Terminator. You know what I mean? Like those movies.
It was definitely
really cool.
Definitely a Terminator,
and he's badass. Like,
like he badass.
He's not as tall as I would want my Cable to be, but I'm not going to complain too much. That's picking nits.
He looks like Cable.
Yeah, if he was like plus 1 foot. Anyway,
so
I had to get one Josh Brolin dig in before we suck his cock for the rest of this episode.
That's fine. Right?
So that was your number 8, right?
10, 9, 8, yes.
All right, so my true number 8 is A Quiet Place.
Ah.
Did you see A Quiet Place?
I did not.
Did you see A Quiet Place?
I loved A Quiet Place.
Thanks for seeing it. It's a really good movie. I think if I would have seen it more, I might have it a little bit higher on my list. It's a really well-constructed movie. The sound editing is phenomenal. For a directorial debut by John Krasinski, I think it was really cool. It does play into some tropes of horror and sci-fi stuff, but I think it's just unique enough that it makes it a little bit better. Like, I liked it more than Signs, which is something that I compared it a lot to, and Aliens and stuff like that. But it's really cool. The fact that him and Emily Blunt are both in it, I think, was really cool, really awesome. The child actors are actually really good. I don't really know how. I mean, the visuals itself kind of make it because the sound is so silent that they have to make up the rest of it in visuals. You want to add some stuff?
I think Emily Blunt was my favorite part of that movie.
I think she was
excellent.
She's way better than John Krasinski in that movie.
I think she truly made that movie, and it was just such an interesting idea, and it was like very visceral because you in this quiet theater with this silent movie it was just so impactful because you really felt like you were part of it. It was enthralling. It was really unique, and I thought it was great. I loved that movie.
I think it could stand the time as like horror sci-fi, like must-sees. Like, I think you could throw it in. Yeah, I think you could throw it in there with the Alien movies and like War of the Worlds and stuff. Like Invasion of the Body Snatchers, like things like that. I think you could add that to that category. I think it was so long ago that people are kind of forgetting it come award season, but that sound design is phenomenal. And actually, Emily Blunt is my performance of the year from that movie specifically.
Really? Yeah, I thought she was amazing.
She carried a lot of weight in that movie, and she was really good. There's some scenes that I don't want to dive into because I do want you to see the movie, but you'll see it and you're just like, she brought it. You know what I mean?
No, I mean I know what happens.
Okay,
the thing is that like what my question is to you both. You did you see it in the theater? Did you see it in the theater?
Yes.
Yes.
Were people being respectful in the theater?
Yes.
Okay.
No talking in the entire movie that I saw.
Good for you. That was my fear.
Because on NPR they were just like, go see a quiet place and don't talk. The only thing you should hear is popcorn munching and the movie, you know, and stuff like that. But yeah,
that was my fear.
Nobody,
that was why my main reason I didn't want to see it was
there were no kids.
I already don't like
it was
horror
PG-13, right?
I don't remember.
I think it was PG-13. There were no kids in my theater, and we went at like 7:00.
I saw a pretty late show.
It was just silent the whole time. There was a couple gasps here and there, but yeah, I mean, because 60% of what makes that movie great is the sound of it. And you know, if you're talking or even making too much noise, it ruins it. So yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's what helps make you feel like you're part of it, is that like you feel like you're ruining the experience and taking people out of it if you make a noise. It's not about anything else, but like I think that kind of, I don't know, it makes you feel like it's all the more realistic and it really puts you into the movie.
Yeah, but on the flip side of the coin, there's an interesting discussion to have, which is I can't quite get a bead on whether I think John Krasinski is a good actor or not. Because he's really good in this movie, and I liked his character in The Office, but he's also done like a couple of stinker performances and stuff like that. It's hard to tell, but I think, you know, since he kind of structured the movie around him and his wife, I think it services him a little bit better as an actor. Because I like him a lot, and I think he could be a really good everyman, but I think he's kind of a little typecast as Jim.
A little bit.
Which makes it a little hard.
I think I liked him in this movie.
No, I did too, yeah.
But he was just like completely, in my opinion, overshadowed by Emily Blunt.
She's really good. She's the breadwinner of the family plot. For sure. Yeah,
he set himself up for that.
Yeah,
but
for sure.
Truly, like,
it's good though.
He was good. She was phenomenal.
Yeah, I really want to watch it again. But it's like, Zach, you could kind of like compare it to like Signs mixed with that Cloverfield Lane movie that we saw. I think it's a pretty good comparison. All right, so you're 7.
First Man.
Okay, right.
So moving on.
So my 7. What is my 7? Okay.
Oh, I know what it is.
My 7 is Bohemian Rhapsody.
Hey!
That was his 6.
Day-o!
Okay, cool. Okay. I think Bohemian Rhapsody is a very fun movie with a really good lead performance. It could be very historically inaccurate, and I could give two shits. It's just an enjoyable experience.
Hell yeah.
It's not the best constructed movie I've seen. It's not the best biopic I've seen, but it was a lot of fun, and I really am glad that I saw it in the theaters with a lot of people that were just as excited to see Queen music as I was. Rami Malek, I think, should actually be considered for award contention. I think he had to go through a lot.
Rami Malek.
Sorry. I think he had to go through a lot to pull off this role. It's a hard figure to kind of encompass.
Yeah.
In 2.5 hours or however long it was. But yeah, it was good. I do think it covered a lot of time spans really quickly at the beginning. That's like the really only grievance that I have with the story. But the latter half of it, dynamite. It was really good. Leading up to the Live Aid shit. Yeah. And the fact that they recreated that whole thing. Yeah. That was awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, Bohemian Rhapsody was amazing. It was the perfect biopic, but it didn't do anything more than that. That's the thing, is that like when I walked out of the movie, I was with Carly and a few friends, and I was nervous because I looked at the Rotten Tomatoes score, and it was like a 68, 70. It was like middle of the road. And when I left, I was like, I totally get it. I get why critics don't like this movie. It's very formulaic. It's by the books. It's a biopic. It doesn't take many risks, and it's PG-13. It doesn't get too dark into Freddie Mercury's life. So it's like,
would you rather it was rated R?
No, I think that the movie was great the way it was.
I kind of wanted to see him fuck a dude.
Well, the thing,
I don't think it would have added anything if it was rated R. I think it would have just been a little bit more visceral.
Yeah, that's the thing, is that, like, when I left the movie, I was saying, like, I could see this in the hands of someone like Scorsese or Quentin Tarantino. Someone that's not afraid to push boundaries and make it, like, very dark and grisly and visceral. But I don't know if you necessarily need to do that. Freddie Mercury is, like, God status in terms of music. Like, there's no need, like, there are some dark spots in his life, and his sickness is something to not joke about. And his his later years of his life is not something that you need to glorify. But at the same time, the movie found a way to make it seem entertaining until to the end, and I appreciated that with all of my being, because not only do I have an immense man crush on Rami Malek, but Rami.
I'm fucking with you.
Side note, anyone out there, if you ever want to listen to an interesting interview, listen to the NPR interview with Rami Malek. It was like they did a one-on-one for like an hour and a half with him. It's very fascinating. It's about getting into character for Mr. Robot, also getting in character for Freddie Mercury. So very good that show.
All right, so that was your number 6?
Yeah.
So my number 6 is Aquaman.
Okay.
Did it make your list? Okay. I enjoyed Aquaman quite a bit. The more I think about it, the more I actually really like it. I think, it's not a fantastic movie by any stretch of the imagination, but in terms of a fan, it pleased me enough to put it into my top 10 favorites.
Okay.
I think the good tends to outweigh the bad, much like some of the Sam Raimi Spider-Man stuff and even some of the earlier Marvel things. I'm looking forward to revisiting it. So maybe it's a little too close to put it in there. But the more I think about it, the more I'm like, this is actually really cool how they executed it. And it's a step in the opposite direction of what we thought DC was going for after like BVS and Suicide Squad. Like those movies were so dark and you couldn't see shit in that movie, whereas like this one's just very bright. They put it on Front Street and they seem to like be having fun, which I really appreciate.
And they have the Ocean Master.
They did have the Ocean Master. Yep. All right, so what's your 5?
My number 5 is Annihilation.
Okay, so I didn't get to see this.
The shit rocked. Annihilation was great.
Did you see it in theaters?
Yes, Carly and I saw it at the Oakley Cinemark.
Cool.
It is a great sci-fi movie. The director of this also did Deus Ex Machina, which is one of my favorite sci-fi movies of the last couple years. Oscar Isaac dances, which is great. In
Wild Turkey Long Branch.
Long Branch.
It's hitting Zach right in the lungs.
It is hitting right in the chest.
It's refined.
I'm like visual. I'm gonna order a pizza for sure.
Hell yeah.
I need some sustenance.
We just had Chipotle like 2 hours ago.
Chipotle's healthy. It's our snack. We earned it.
But yeah, Annihilation is a very smart script with 5 really, really great female leads. Oscar Isaac plays this kind of like
not female lead,
but he plays this like tour guide almost. Like you only see him in video. It's so good. It's disturbing. The one problem I have is that Natalie Portman just. You
don't like her in that movie?
I liked her in that movie.
You don't like Natalie Portman. We have found that out.
You just have like a bias against Natalie Portman.
He doesn't like Natalie Portman.
I really liked her.
He also doesn't find her attractive. Internet, smash him.
Ooh.
I heard she was really cool in this movie.
She's
her.
okay.
I thought she was good.
She's okay. Sure, she just doesn't deliver lines right, in my opinion. Like I don't feel any emotion or character from her. Like I just feel like she's delivering the lines as the script has told her to, and she's not putting anything of her own into it.
What's your favorite Natalie Portman performance?
I don't have one.
There
Black
we go.
Swan?
No, there we go. We figured it out. You just don't like Natalie Portman.
No,
it's fine. It's fine.
All of her other co-stars though are great. Like Jennifer Jason Leigh, she plays like the head of the scout group, and
she's Tessa Thompson in that movie too.
Yes. I think
she's
so.
popping up everywhere.
But like Jennifer Jason Leigh, when she showed up in the beginning of the movie, I was like, what the fuck is she doing? She was like playing this really like lethargic sort of... But then by the end of the movie, you realize that she's doing it for a reason. It's like... But just Natalie Portman, I just don't buy Natalie Portman. I think it might just be like suspension of disbelief.
Why was that?
You slide whistle. I think it might just be suspension of disbelief with Natalie Portman and I. It's like,
okay,
I just don't see I don't see her as a character. I see Natalie Portman.
I think she's a phenomenal actress.
I think she's a good actress. I think she.
I think you're blinded.
Especially well in Annihilation.
I think you're blinded by your hate of
One.
Attack of the Clones.
Great.
I really do.
I really think that's.
I think that's why you don't like her, is because you hate those prequel movies with a passion, and you're just like, anyone who's involved with it can go suck a dick.
Well, I only
besides
saw it
Christopher
last
Lee.
weekend, and I love Natalie Portman, so I think that might be the case.
Yeah, I think so too.
It's not true, John.
I think we figured out some psychological things with you.
Okay.
You want to hear my number 5?
Yeah.
All right, let me speak my piece before you shit on my face, okay? My number 5 is Solo. Call me blinded by fandom. I do think it holds up better if you actually give it a chance. I think a lot of people didn't, as evidenced by the box office scores. No one saw it. I think the people that saw it didn't give it enough of a chance. I think people went into it being like, The Last Jedi was so far from the Star Wars that I like that I already hate this movie. I'm not saying that this is what happened with you. I know you don't like this movie very much. But I do think that that's just kind of like the general consensus. It's like, hey, it's like almost like, imagine the Star Wars saga as a Death Star. It's like they finally found a flaw in the plan. Let's exploit it. And I do think that it's kind of hurting a little bit of the franchise. It's moved into this Disney structure. But I think Solo is a really enjoyable film. It's not a great film, but it is a fun film. I think there's enough good lines. I think there's some great character interactions with people that are actually really interesting. Okay? There's no Finn. There's no Rose. There's none of that bullshit in this movie. It's characters that we like Lando and Chewbacca and Han. There's a couple new characters that are good. There are some that aren't. There's a villain that doesn't really matter. There's another villain that doesn't really matter. But there's some really cool visuals. I think there's a lot of fun. There's some good music. And I really enjoyed the film. And the more that I watch it, the more that it grows on me.
I'm glad.
Thank you.
Yeah, Solo. I want to like it.
I don't think you've given it enough of a chance to like it, though.
No.
I think you had your mind made up before you saw it.
I don't know. That seems accusatory.
But I think it's true. Like, you told me before you went inside, you're just like, I wasn't the best.
John, I was not excited to see a movie based on young Han Solo by Alden Ehrenreich, by Phil Lord and Chris Miller's abortion to Ron Howard.
Yeah.
That movie just seemed like a clusterfuck to begin with.
Sure.
I liked plenty of the elements, but the problems that made me just not care by the end of it was the best parts of the movie are obvious. Donald Glover's Lando Calrissian is perfect. It's perfect casting. Chewbacca is really, really well done.
He's never not good.
I even thought the score was really well put together.
Yeah.
The negatives in the movie are many to me, and I don't want to turn this into a Solo debate, but I just thought the cinematography is dull.
It's very
gray
dark. It's
and
very dark.
Gross.
It's very dark.
There are many times where it's like I can't even tell who's talking on screen. It's so gross.
It's very shadowy.
And dark and shadowy. So the cinematography is gross. There's nothing really pretty about the movie. Mm-hmm. The other thing is that I didn't find the story that compelling in the Han Solo sense. It's like, we like Han Solo because he's such a unique character, but like, this movie, I didn't feel like added to the character that I loved. It just told some story about this character in his day, and I didn't find any connection with it. And then the other thing is that I just hated the way that it tried to set up. It tried to do the Marvel. It tried to do the MCU, where it was like, she's abandoning you, and you're gonna fight later. And guess what? Who's here? Darth Maul, and he's going to show his red lightsaber on a hologram just to intimidate you. It's like, it really felt, that to me, more than Last Jedi, felt like the Disney influence on Star Wars.
Wholeheartedly.
So that was the reasons why I didn't like it.
Yeah, and that's fine. So what's your number 4?
Isle of Dogs.
Okay, so I didn't get to see this, but I'm curious because I have actually seen more Wes Anderson movies in the past 2 years than I had ever seen in my entire life. So go ahead and tell me about Isle of Dogs.
Did you see Fantastic Mr. Fox?
I have not.
Okay.
It's the same animation style, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Stop motion animation, a lot of claymation, a lot
I
of...
heard it was dope, and I kind of wish I saw it in
I
theaters,
loved Isle of Dogs.
Good.
It's so charming. It's like a comfort food movie. Like, there's not much stakes to be had. It's not like a movie you go into invested and you're in the middle, you're like, oh no, what's going to happen to our characters? Oh no. It's like you're along for the ride. The way that the world is just laid out is just so perfect. I loved it. The animation style was brilliant. The writing is really funny. The ensemble cast is great, like Bill Murray and Jeff Goldblum and all the Bob Balaban, all the usual Wes Anderson guys are there. It's just a great feel-good movie.
Mm-hmm.
And if you like dogs, you're in for a treat.
It's very cute.
Yeah, very cute.
Who are some of the voice actors in it? It's The Usual Suspects from Wes Anderson. Is Bill Murray in it?
Bill Murray. Jeff Goldblum, Bob Balaban.
Nice. Jason Schwartzman.
Jason Schwartzman's in there.
Owen Wilson.
Owen Wilson's in there.
Saoirse Ronan. She in it?
I don't know about that one.
Okay.
It's like most of the usual suspects.
Sure.
So
I've only seen, and I want to watch more of them. I really do. And I will watch this movie eventually. I have only seen Grand Budapest Hotel, which is amazing. And
one of my top favorite movies of all time.
And I can't believe it took me that long to see it. But shout out to Linnea. She showed it to me. And then I saw Oceanic, the submarine one.
Life Aquatic.
Sorry, thank you. Yeah, Oceanic is the airlines from Lost. Life Aquatic, yeah. It's got some moments, but...
My laptop's on 5%. Keep talking.
Okay, very nice. Is Wild Turkey Long Branch.
Taking a commercial.
This episode of Radiovania is brought to you by the only thing we've been talking about for the past day. Wild Turkey Long Branch. So, coming up after Zach plugs his computer in, we're going to talk about JP's number 4 movie of the year.
All right, John, give me your number 4.
All right. I want to preface the next 4 movies by saying that this was in a movie, or in a year that didn't have that many fantastic movies. There were 4 really, really, really good movies that was hard for me to place, but I am placing them based on ones that I find more rewatchable and were more greatly impacted by. Okay? So my number 4 movie of the year was actually Avengers: Infinity War. I think it is a fantastic film. It's everything that I wanted it to be. It was a great culmination of 10 years of Marvel. Some movies that were really good and some movies that weren't. But I still think it was awesome. I think they executed everything as well as they could have for a movie that's more of an event than it is a cinematic experience.
No joke.
My favorite performance of the year by an actor that doesn't really appear on screen is Josh Brolin, which I used to shit on quite a bit. But I think the Thanos character is so perfect. It's a villain that justifies his means to an end very well. I think he's got some great dialogue. There's some great character work in this movie that I wish was in some of the other Marvel movies, because unfortunately now they might not appear ever again. And it's been out for a while, so I hope we can dive into spoilers a little bit. But there are some things that I'm glad appeared in this movie, and other things that I wish hadn't, because I'm as a fan of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, I like going to see these movies. I like that there's 2 or 3 a year. I like being able to go to the next one as if it were the next chapter of a book. But I'm a little upset about some of the choices going forward, but I understand the weight that they have, such as the scene with Thanos and Gamora on, I can't remember the name of the planet off the top of my head. It starts with a V or something like that. That's my favorite scene of the whole film. But it just leaves the ramifications a little bit muddy to me, which isn't, that's just a personal opinion of mine because I like the Guardians movies so much. But I think this is a really good movie. It is a little lengthy, so like it takes a little bit more of a time commitment. They service most of the characters well, but even characters that aren't my favorite, I don't think they touched on quite enough. And maybe Endgame will improve me differently if you want to consider them as part of the same thing. I don't think they're going for that. But considering that they're coming out in back-to-back summers, you can't not compare it to like Deathly Hallows or something like that. I think the visual effects are really dope. The fight choreography is cool. And like I said, they service the majority of the characters well enough. I think they covered the Guardians really well. And Thor and Spider-Man is just so good. And Tony Stark and most of the original Avengers. I think characters that they didn't do a good job of, though, were like Captain America. I don't think he was in enough of the movie, but I'm sure he will be in a lot of the next one. And they didn't even include Hawkeye and Ant-Man, which I understand Ant-Man had a movie coming out months later, and Hawkeye's going to be in the next one. But it was really hard for them to be able to juggle all that, and they still gave an A+ movie. So it was very hard for me to put it at number 4, but that's kind of where I fell.
Huh. Okay.
What was your number? Is it 3 now?
My number 4? Or my number 3?
What was your number 4? Isle of Dogs, right?
Isle of Dogs, yeah.
Yeah, what's your number 3?
Number 3, Overlord!
Okay, so I didn't get to see this either.
The best Nazi zombie movie you'll ever see. And that's like the best thing I can say about it is that it's a movie about Nazi zombies, and it's not stupid.
Yeah, I rolled my eyes into the back of my head when Zach suggested we see a Nazi zombie movie, but I enjoyed it so much, and it was not cheesy, it was not corny, it really was enthralling and really brought me into the movie, and I did not once feel like, wow, this is the dumbest thing I've ever watched.
There's 2 ways you do a stupid plot, right? There's 2 ways. You either do it so serious that you make it something of its own. You make it super serious and make it very like down to earth and grounded. Or you do it super schmaltzy and make it like Spielbergian and like, these zombies, they're everywhere. And you have like a music dance scene or whatever. But it's like Overlord rode that line perfectly down the middle where it wasn't too cartoony, where it was like an episode of a cartoon TV show. And it wasn't too serious where it was like Saving Private Ryan. But it was like right in the middle. And it was fucking awesome. There was like gunfights and dude gets his face blown off and he still like lives and they fight each other and there's like spears through the stomach and it's fucking awesome. It's so great. It's like the Band of Brothers but better. I loved it. Overloaded was awesome. Tiny little budget, like low budget movie. Kurt Russell's son is one of the lead actors. Wyatt Russell.
Shout out Wyatt Russell.
There's also the lead actor is an African American actor. I don't remember his name. I'm gonna look it up now.
You should.
He steals the show though. He was awesome.
Great in that movie.
He's awesome. But yeah, it's just all around a really, really good movie, and it's just so entertaining. The guy's name is Jovan Adepo.
What else has he been in?
He plays Boyce. Not much. Fences, The Leftovers.
Oh, he was in Fences?
Mother?
He was Corey in Fences.
Did you see Fences?
No.
It's stage play turned into a film. So if you like
I read the
if
book.
you like First Man, where there's a lot of sitting around and talking,
I read the book and I thought that the book was a little slow at times, so I would imagine that
it's a pretty dry film, but Denzel Washington and Viola Davis are really good. They just yell at each other for like 2 hours.
I love Viola Davis, so I wanted to see it. That because I read the book. But
she won, I think.
I think she got some award for it.
Denzel should have won, but they gave it to Casey Affleck as like a pity win or something like that. And I watched that movie, Manchester by the Sea. Bring your Kleenex.
So yeah, anyway, Overlord. Awesome.
Nice.
This fucking man. It was like the most metal movie ever, but it was still so classy. It was like the classiest shit movie ever. It was amazing. I can't wait to watch it again.
I was seriously impressed by how good I thought it was.
You said seriously, and she thought you were talking to her.
She did.
Wait.
Hey Siri.
I don't see how good in your music.
Hey Siri. Set alarm for 5 a.m.
Stop that.
Okay, I did that once. Okay, my number 3 is Black Panther. I think I was way higher on this movie than you were.
Yeah.
By a significant margin. I must be more drawn to the more centralized character studies, I guess, in the Marvel universe, because like my favorite Captain America movie is not Civil War, Winter Soldier, which doesn't have all the people in Civil War.
Yeah.
You know, stuff like that. Iron Man, the first one. But anyway, I like Black Panther just a hair. Just a little tiny hair. Almost one blade of grass from Wakanda more than Infinity War. And it's crazy to me that both of these came out in the same year.
Yeah.
I think a lot of what happened with Black Panther involved more of what they went back and reshot in Infinity War. But I really like it. I think both of the villains were really cool. I do wish Claw was a little more involved because I think Andy Serkis was really dope.
Yeah.
But I think Michael Jordan might have presented himself as one of the greater Marvel villains. Michael B. Jordan. But he was upseated by an even better villain later on, like a month later. That's the problem with the Marvel movies. They're so close together, and that's what worries me about Captain Marvel. But that's another conversation. I think Chadwick Boseman was really cool, and the supporting cast that they created, I think they have a plethora of things to explore going forward. And I love the world of Wakanda. I think they made that character and that world more interesting than any Marvel comic has done for me, which is what really impressed me.
Yeah.
With Black Panther.
No, I totally agree
and
with
the soundtrack. Bang.
Yeah, I agree with you. All those aspects. The problems I have with Black Panther are just that it was on its way to being perfect, and it just like leveled out.
It tripped at the finish line.
It tripped at the finish line. Like the last third of the movie is just bad. Like it's not interesting to me.
I don't think it's bad, but I agree with you. The final fight is a CGI fuckfest.
But it's like
the battle in the field. It just gets upseated by the battle in Infinity War, which is on literally the same field. It's just I can understand
it's like,
the third act. It's the same thing with Wonder Woman. The third act just stumbles at the finish line.
Yeah, but you could argue why did they even need to have the Black Panther would have been so much better if they just ended it on the more political scale. Which was what that movie was about. It was about Wakanda. It was about the political aspects of Wakanda. But the ending of that movie is giant CGI rhinos fighting different tribes. It's like...
Well, I mean, the end of Infinity War is guys with 4 arms punching their way through a force field. I mean, it still has to be comic book.
Yeah, but that serves the purpose, which is they're trying to keep Thanos out of that field, and they're also trying to protect Vision.
Right.
In Black Panther, it was just like Michael B. Jordan's character was trying to lead this army and trying to change the ideals, and all of a sudden they just fight in the end, you know? It was too fast.
Yeah.
You needed more time.
And maybe it'll slow down a little bit more with some of the sequels. But
I really hope that the Black Panther sequel is like The Dark Knight.
Well, I'm glad that they got Ryan Coogler to come back because I think he did a really good job. I think he did a fantastic job with world building. One of my favorite characters of the entire year on film was Denai Guerra as Okoye. I think she's boss. I would watch a movie about her more than T'Challa, I think, at some times. But yeah, I just really like Black Panther quite a bit.
Yeah, I'm glad. All right, what were we on?
2. We're getting there.
Am I doing number 2?
You're number 2.
Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse.
All right.
We've talked about it enough.
Yes, we have. Very recently, too.
Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse is
still in theaters, so you have the time to go see it.
Go see it, please. It's basically a perfect movie. Mm-hmm. Very few complaints. I love Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. It's amazing. It's amazing. It's everything I wanted when I was a kid, combined with the cognizance I have as an adult.
That's a good way to describe it. I really like that. Yeah, that is awesome.
It doesn't treat me like an infant. It treats me like a real human being, and it tells a great story that's also very accessible to children.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's the perfect way to describe it.
So there you go. It should be more successful. It fucking hurts my sides that it's not. But
I bet you it would do gangbusters on home video.
I hope so. I'm gonna buy it day one because
too.
this movie deserves all the support. This is so great. I love it. I love it.
My number 2 is Green Book, and I really wish you had seen it before we talked about this, because I don't think it'll mean as much without you having not seen it. I think it is one of the best movies that explores the relationships between two people ever. It's almost like, it's just like, imagine these great cinematic moments between two people, where you explore their relationship through almost the whole thing. Viggo Mortensen and Mahershala Ali give performances of their careers, and I love Viggo as like Aragorn and all that stuff, but this is one of the best things I think he's ever done. It's a really good movie. It's a period piece set in the 60s. It's about him as a driver taking him on a tour through the American South. Maybe that's a draw for me that I have, is it's just like it's a good exploration of that time. And I've always kind of been drawn to movies like that, like in Remember the Titans and other period pieces that deal with civil rights.
Yeah.
But it touches on things that are so important to civilization right now. It's a really beautifully constructed movie. There's great music, both the jazz music that's on screen and the score of the film. There's great acting. There's great directing. The visuals are beautiful. There's this one scene that I think is in the trailer, but like the car kind of like overheats a little bit, and Viggo is out and he's puffing on a cigarette and he's like pouring like a gallon of water on stuff to cool off the engine. And Mahershala Ali, who plays Doc Shirley, who's a musician, gets out of the car and he's wearing this beautiful 3-piece suit. And he's leaning up against the car, and he looks out across the street. And in this field, there's about like 50 African-American people that are working in the field picking cotton. And it's just like, it's just really good imagery that just is very haunting, but it's also very beautiful at the same time. And I think it's a very important movie for what we have going on right now. I can't recommend it enough. I don't know if it's in the theaters still, but it did tie into Christmas and New Year's. So it's also, I think it could qualify as a pretty good holiday movie. It pulled at the heartstrings. Maybe I liked it more because I saw it with my mom and we both had a really good time. We went to the Cinemark, or the Cinebistro, I should say. But it was really good. I can't recommend it enough. The acting is just on point, and the conversation afterwards is very important, which is something that I've had. Like, it piqued my interest in talking to my family, who is from a majority of the American South that lived through that time period. And it's just like, I want to learn more about why things weren't as easy as you think they should be. And I think that's kind of what is at the heart of this movie. So I can't speak enough about it. It's great.
Good.
What's your number one movie of the year? And I'm sure we're not surprised.
Oh my god, I'm so sorry that I'm following Green Book.
With your comic book movie.
Infinity War.
Yeah.
I'm a Marvel fuckboy shill.
Don't break your glass.
I loved Infinity War. I thought it was... I didn't see Green Book, so to be honest, I didn't see any movies this year that really made commentary on society other than Black Panther. Infinity War was the perfect action movie.
It is.
It melded all these characters that I've cared about for the last 10 years together and made them fight a villain that was evil and despicable and actually felt scary. Coupled with great visual effects and action sequences and an
comedy.
Amazing cliffhanger.
Yes.
That made you excited and genuinely anxious for the next installment. I can't remember the last time that's happened, where a movie ended and I was like, I need to know what happens right now. It's like, that doesn't happen now.
I think the last real version of that was definitely Hallows, but that doesn't really count because if you read the book, you knew it was going to happen. You know what I mean? But like as a movie-going audience, that was the last real comparison.
Yeah, I mean, I feel that for sure. I mean, maybe like Force Awakens. Yeah,
but like I think, like I like Force Awakens a lot, but I think I think Infinity War does a better job of leaving the audience even like clamoring for more. And in the same way that Harry Potter was the culmination of an event, The Force Awakens came after 30, not 30, but like 10 years of a previously bad film. I think that Infinity War and Deathly Hallows Part 1 can be very easily compared, where it's like everyone in pop culture that is interested at all in movies at this point is invested in that franchise. Yeah. And they set you up perfectly with a good tease. They gave you that first taste of the medicine to make you come back for more. And we'll all be there in April.
Oh, man. It's almost my birthday. It's like Infinity War came out a couple days before my birthday.
I remember.
Now the new one's coming down a few days before. It's like,
Happy birthday to Zach.
Happy birthday to me.
Yeah.
Starlet's coming back from the grave.
Maybe.
Guardians
3 is up in the air. That's the one that's actually interesting to me.
I'm curious
because they've started Doc Strange 2. They've started Spider-Man Far From... these people are coming back. But Guardians, now that James Gunn is gone, they could not bring any of them back.
The rumor right now is that Adam McKay is tapped to direct.
Yeah. Cool. Okay.
I won't see it in theaters.
My number one movie of the year is Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse.
Fuck yes!
Yeah, I think that this will turn out to be a timeless animation film and a film in general. I think it is heartwarming and beautiful. It has some of my favorite comic book moments. It's literally like reading a comic book on the screen. It has my favorite Stan Lee cameo of all time.
Yes!
And it might tie into his death a little bit, but I think that, whether they did that in post-production or not is it's the perfect send-off.
That's too good to be.
Yeah.
That's too good to be a post.
And it's so meta to the point that it's exactly what you said. I think you described it perfectly. I don't think we need to talk about it anymore, but I can't recommend it enough. It's a movie that I will be watching many times, and the past 4 movies that I listed in my top 4 are all movies that I own or will own when they come out, and I just can't wait to watch them for years to come. So, Spider-Man Into the
Spider-Verse was amazing.
Please go see it. It'll tug at the heartstrings. It'll make you laugh. It's a good action movie. It's a good animation movie. It leaves you hopeful for the future. And in the same way that Green Book provided a good commentary on society, Spider-Man provides a hope for society. And I think they're a good 1-2 punch to see together.
Amen.
That's 2018.
Holy shit,
That's a wrap, baby.
We did it!
Half a bottle of Long Branch in. And
I've only had 3 glasses.
2.5 hours.
That's pretty good. that's lengthy.
Hold on. All right, so the last thing that I have here is, what are you hoping for from the new year? That's our last topic.
I'm hoping to get a full-time job. I'm hoping that Endgame isn't a letdown. Not that I think it will be, but I think Infinity War is so good that I'm a little concerned that it might not deliver, but I'm sure it will. I want Captain Marvel to be good, and I really want Star Wars Episode 9 to wrap up a trilogy, because I'm a little worried that they won't be able to tie in The Last Jedi to the other 2 films that JJ made. So we'll see.
What do we do? What's
going to happen?
They've had many a boardroom meeting.
Also, I just hope that society in general is more pleasant. Stuff like that. Yeah. Hope to hang out with you guys more.
Oh, John. Here we go. I'm gonna fucking shit on society. Here we go. Game of Thrones. I hope it's good. I hope it ends in a satisfactory way.
How was that?
Game of Thrones sucks. Mostly. And I hope that it ends in a way that's like doesn't make me feel like I wasted years of my life following this trend.
It will, because Bran's gonna wake up from a dream.
Yeah. Dr. Sleep comes out next year, apparently. That's the sequel to The Shining with Ewan McGregor, where he hunts vampires.
Vinepires?
Well, I don't know if that's necessarily the direction I can go, but Ewan McGregor plays Danny Torrance in his adulthood, and that movie's coming out next year.
Danny's not here, Mrs. Torrance.
Yeah. There's a 2% chance that movie's going to be good.
We'll see. And that Animal Pet Cemetery movie looks pretty good.
Everything's coming up King right now, so we'll see.
Stephen King's movie.
Hit Chapter 2 comes out next year. which a lot of people are anxious for. But I think the easier part of that book is to do the kid story. So I bet you the adult version just bombs.
Tanks, yeah.
Because that part sucks. And it's also just like really upsetting and
You
dark.
read the book, right?
Most of it. I couldn't really get through it. I need to get back into it before the new one comes out. But it's long. It's a huge book. It's like he created this whole separate world, and it's I don't know. The Shining's a way better novel. Go check that out. What else comes out in 2019 that we're missing? Spider-Man Far From Home. That comes out.
It's on my list.
That'll be really cool.
We'll see.
Mysterio. We'll see how that pulls off.
We'll see.
Hopefully, we don't get some Jamie Foxx Electro vibes from that. I doubt we will, but anything else in 2019?
Yeah, number 8 on my list is Pokemon Detective Pikachu.
Oh shit! I forgot that was coming out.
Thought-
So overall, I think 2019 will have more enjoyable films.
I hope so.
Yeah.
I mean, Detective Pikachu looks so entertaining.
Yeah.
I hope they don't fuck it up. Because right now they got lightning in a bottle. That looks like the best movie ever.
Yeah. There's an X-Men movie.
Yeah.
Which is just the setup to them being introduced into the MCU. There's no DC movie besides Shazam, which actually looks pretty cool.
Looks really good.
We'll see when that comes out.
On my list also I have Joker. That movie
comes out next year? I don't know about that movie.
I'm hoping for the best.
Okay.
Also Avengers Part 2.
We've sucked that dick many a time. It's dry.
Also, I'm hoping for the new year, Mr. Robot Season 4.
They're hoping for Daredevil Season 4, but
they're
it's not
ending
gonna
it.
happen. Oh, they are?
Yeah. The last season of Mr. Robot comes out this next year.
Well, at least they have something in sight.
Yep.
Unlike Lost.
Yeah. Esmail, whatever his name is, Sam Esmail, is a genius. He knows exactly where it's going, and it's just like any good show on Netflix that ends its time before it gets too elongated. It's like, I can't wait. Mr. Robot is one of my favorite television shows ever. I can't wait to see how they end it. And then also I have on here Star Wars Episode 9 is one of my most anticipated things of the new year. What are they going to do?
I would be lying if I said I wasn't anxious.
I'm anxious.
Because Star Wars, I feel like, used to be a thing that everybody liked, and now it's not that way. And it's not that it has to be liked by everybody, but it seems like we were very hyped at the beginning, and now we aren't. And for a franchise that I wish had, more things coming out, which they've planned these television shows, who sees how that'll pan out. I'm a little anxious to see how they do this trilogy, because I'm sure by the end of it we will like the trilogy more than the prequel trilogy, but it could still be on par with being considered a failure, depending on what happens.
I don't think it will. I think Episode 9 is going to be almost like a redemption story.
It's like that friend who comes in and does like sub shot on beer pong and just nails it, and you're just like, okay, we're good.
Yep.
We'll see, bro.
I think Last Jedi is going to be the peg in the story.
I'm sure it will. What I hope
it
would happen would be that they were able to tie all three of them together, but I'm sure that they won't. There's like a rumor floating around that those two directors just like despise each other, which that's Kathleen Kennedy's fault for
JJ and
Rian Johnson.
Yeah. I believe it.
Because I bet you, like, by the end of it, Dollars to Donuts, we're going to be like, The Last Jedi is a really good Rian Johnson movie, but is a bad Star Wars movie compared to this. You know what I mean? So, we'll see. It's hard to judge until we see the completed picture.
That's true.
But don't make any more anthology films for a while.
Yes,
until you figure out what you want to do.
Lucasfilm, please. Just leave it alone.
All right, you want me to do the shout-outs as McConaughey?
I've only got one category left, and that's favorite pop culture of 2017.
Like medium?
Anything. Favorite thing of 2017. Video.
2018.
2017, 18.
2018.
Yeah. What was your favorite thing?
Unfortunately, I don't think it was the best movie year. I think 2017 was a better movie year. I think, honestly, this could be a dark horse choice, but I think this was one of my favorite years in comics in a really long time. What about you?
Mr. Bubs.
YouTube is your favorite medium?
No, just Mr. Bubs.
That's just it. Just
My
Mr.
question
Bubs.
was favorite pop culture thing of the year.
Oh,
Mr. Bubs.
okay.
I love Mr. Bubs. Mr. Bubs is great.
We would worship at the altar of Mr. Bubs.
See?
All right, let's close this shit out.
Yeah. I'm ready to go watch some dumbass shit on TV.
Like Mr. Bubs. All right, so if you like the show, you can continue to follow us in 2019.
Wait, I'm gonna play that shitty country music thing that we played before. You ready?
Yeah, that's fine.
You're gonna read the things as McConaughey. You ready?
Yes, sir.
Here it goes.
Here
it goes. Oh.
If you like the show, you can check us out at Radiovania.com, which will take us to your YouTube page. You can hit that red subscribe button. All right. Moving on over to Instagram. You can follow the show there. You could also check him out at Zach Rotello on Insta and Twitter. You can email the show at radiovania@gmail.com. And that's about it. We look forward to 2019. We hope you do too. And stay frosty.